for half the wedding. It's unfortunate, and my advice to everyone out there is don't spend an awful lot of money on first weddings. Wait for the second one. They usually hold out a little bit better.
Your Honor,
I'm sorry, Miss
agree.
Wells. So I don't believe it. That's all.
Audience are excused. You may step out.
25-year-old Suzanne Hiller is suing her ex-husband, Patrick King, for her lost wages after their daughter broke her leg.
Now it's case number 398 on the calendar in the matter of Hiller versus King. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Miss Hiller, you used to be married to Mr. King. You have one child together, is that right?
Yeah.
Child is now 6?
7.
7. Sometime last year, Mr. King was enjoying visitation with his daughter, and she had an accident and broke her leg. And you stayed home to take care of her. You weren't working at the time, having lost your job about a week before this accident. You claim that you asked Mr. King to give you extra money for the purposes of having somebody come to the house and watch your daughter while you went out to look for a job, and he refused. So you want your husband to compensate you for the time you spent home taking care of your daughter.
Correct.
Doesn't that sound ridiculous to you?
No, there's a little bit more to this story.
Well, that's the lawsuit.
Yeah.
I mean, I assume that during the period of this visitation, there was an accident when she broke her leg. How did it happen, Mr. King?
She had to use the restroom, and she had a friend over, and typically she waits a little too long sometimes, and she was in a hurry to get to the restroom, and she was wearing socks, brand new sparkly socks, which were really slippery, and she was running across the tile floor with her friend in chase behind her, and when she rounded the corner, she slipped and fell, and she's been told, you know.
Whatever. It's an accident. Now, Miss Hiller, is there anything that you know that suggests that this is not the way your daughter broke her leg? After all, she was 6 years old, so I'm sure you asked her. And she said she was running and she fell. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay.
But the story's changed. Now, I heard that she...
No, just don't look at him. Look at me.
Okay. I heard that she was running on the tile in the kitchen, playing with her friend, and he was in the bathroom. My daughter
What difference does it make?
Because
I mean, you're not suggesting that Mr. King caused the injury, that it was anything other than an accident.
I'm sure it was an accident.
Right. Now, has your daughter ever been to an emergency room other than this incident?
No.
Has she ever seen the doctor on an emergency basis?
No.
Has she ever gotten a very bad cold or sore throat?
No.
Nothing. So she is a miraculous 7-year-old who has never been ill.
She's very healthy.
I didn't ask you if she was very healthy or not. I had a whole bunch of children, and they were always sick. Children go to school, they get sick. They go to nursery school, they get sick. They play with their friends, they fall down, they need a stitch, they break an arm, or they sprain a wrist. That's what happens with children. That's not his fault. That's an accident. Now, why do you think that he should compensate you for taking care of your own child?
Because I had actually just lost my job. She had broken her leg on a Sunday, and I had lost my job on that Friday. So it had only been literally a couple of days. I got a phone call from him on that Sunday, which was the 5th of December, saying that it was about 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
I don't care. You have to understand something. I don't care about that. I don't care about the call and she broke her leg and I didn't take her to the doctor right away. It doesn't make any difference to me. He's her father. Accidents happen. She broke her leg. You're her mother. You're her primary custodian. You stayed home and took care of her. Aside from the fact you weren't working. I want to know under what theory you believe that your former husband should compensate you for taking care of your own child.
I was unable to collect any sort of money at that time. I had no way to work because I didn't have anybody to watch my daughter. She was in a cast for almost 6 months.
So what does that have to do with him?
She was out of school for about 4 of it.
What does that have to do with him?
He wouldn't watch her. I would ask him to come over.
Just a second. Is it true that you wouldn't watch your daughter?
No, I tried to see her, actually tried to take her for regular visitation, and she wouldn't allow me to. Because she said she couldn't use her crutches, she didn't want her out of the house on her cast. Numerous other excuses, but I was denied the right to see her.
Miss Hiller, is that true?
That's not true.
You mean he asked you to come and pick her up and you said you can come and pick her up and he didn't?
He wouldn't. I would ask him, I said, can you please come over?
Not come over.
Oh, no. Yeah.
No. I'm not talking about coming over to your house. I'm talking about coming, picking up his daughter and taking her to his house.
He wouldn't. He actually had the opportunity once. He was going to come once because it took a while for her to actually not be sedated because she was heavily sedated because of the severity of the break. I have a copy of the X-ray if you'd like to see it.
I would not. Are you telling me that a 6-year-old child was heavily sedated for more than a day or two?
It was probably about 3 weeks. She was on codeine.
I don't know what kind of a doctor you used keeping a 6-year-old on codeine. In any event, Miss Hiller, your former husband says that the reason you're here, the reason that you decided to sue him after all of this time, is because you had made a request. And that request was to send your daughter to live with some relatives for 10 months while you went back to school. Did you ask him to permit you and to amend your agreement and the court order of visitation to allow your daughter to go and live with relatives?
She was going to stay there for 2 months.
Stay where for 2 months?
St. Louis, Missouri. That's where my mother and father live, who she goes and visits every summer.
You asked your former husband if she could go to St. Louis. During what months?
It was the months of September, October, November.
That's school time. Where was she going to go to school?
My family was going to put her in school out there.
And he said no.
He said yes at first, and then he said no.
I never said yes. No way.
Mr. King, I have a sense that Miss Hiller has a problem with truth-telling.
You have a good sense, Your Honor.
That's totally incorrect.
Miss Hiller, he shouldn't even be asked if he will give up his daughter for 3 months for your convenience. That shouldn't be something that you should even consider. If you want to go to school, if you want to go on vacation, if you want to go trekking all over the world, you say to him, would you like, what's your daughter's name?
Ashlyn.
Ashlyn to come to live with you for the next 3 months or
I've been
6
offering
months?
that.
Quiet.
Sorry.
I would like you to take Ashlyn for 3 months or 6 months because I want to go back to school. Whatever reason it was that you were going to send her to visit, to live, not visit, live with your parents. Because once she goes to live with your parents and they enroll her in school, that's not a visit. Did you ask Mr. King if he would be willing to take his daughter while you go back to school?
No,
Why not?
because he's neglectful.
He is not neglectful, madam. You don't have a choice. If you want to send your daughter to live elsewhere, the first person who has the right to have custody of her is her father. Somebody that you picked, you married, and you chose to have a child with. And if you don't like that, that's too bad. But he's not a second-class citizen. If you want to go back to school, she goes to live with her father, not your parents 1,000 miles away. That's outrageous. And after he said no is when you filed this lawsuit. Outrageous. And I suggest that you not go to family court to seek permission for you to relocate your daughter, because Mr. King is going to get a copy of this tape, and your motivations are going to be quite clear.
But those are not my motivations.
You have no right to send your daughter to live with your parents to go to school when she has a parent here. If you are unwilling and unable to take care of her, then she goes to live with her father, not your parents, not your sister, not your cousin, not your aunt, not your godmother. She goes to live with her father, who says, I'm more than willing to take care of her if you don't want her in your custody.
I just feel he doesn't take care of her.
That's not your decision to make. You chose him as a mate, and you chose him as a father of your child. And I don't believe you when you say your daughter has never been sick, because she would be the only child in creation who has not had an ear infection, a bad cold, a fever. The only one that I know of. I have 5 children, 11 grandchildren. All of them have been sick. And I got news for you. They have wonderful parents, at least as good as you. So when you say she's very healthy, never been sick, I don't believe you.
She's had the flu. But she's never been to the doctor because of an
Well, if you
accident
didn't take, just
other
a
than
second,
leg.
if you didn't take her to the doctor and she had the flu, you're a neglectful parent. Because if flu, you have a big fever. Then you call the doctor and you check it. And if you didn't, you're neglectful. See how easy that is? You don't think you're a neglectful parent, do you? He's not neglectful because his child broke her leg while visiting with him. It was an accident. Get over it. And if you can't take care of her because you want to go to school, you have to say to her father, I can't manage her and my school. Will you take her while I'm in school? And if you choose not to do that, then she stays with you. But you don't retaliate by bringing a lawsuit against him. That's outrageous.
But I'm sorry, I don't mean to be disrespectful. I had asked him for money earlier. I had asked him to help me with daycare.
You didn't bring the lawsuit until after he said, I'm not consenting to your sending her to St. Louis.
We had made other arrangements.
Just a second.
Okay.
You have no right to ask him that. You have no right to be angry at him when he says no. This child has 2 parents, a mother and a father. And the Supreme Court of every state in this country says that you have no greater right to custody, unless a court says so, than her father does. He is not a second-class person. And you better think about that. Maternal grandparents don't have a greater right to custody than a child's father. Did you ever go to a hospital when you were a child?
I did.
For what? For what?
I think I put something up my nose.
You put something up your nose. Where were you when you put something up your nose?
I was with my mother.
Your mother. Did they take you away from her and make you a ward of the state?
No.
It was an accident, right?
Yeah, I
Was she
actually
not?
put it
Just
up
a
my
second.
nose.
Was she watching you carefully? Was she supervising you? If she wasn't supervising you adequately, maybe you should have gone to live with somebody else. Maybe your grandparents. It was an accident. Do you understand? Get over it. Case is dismissed.
Cynthia Aseltine and her daughter, 19-year-old Danielle Ireland, are suing Cynthia's former landlord, Sidney Neese, for the return of a security deposit, moving expenses, and damages from an assault.
All rise. Now it's case number 40 on the calendar in the matter of Aseltine Ireland versus Nice. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Sir, have a seat.
Who is Miss Ireland?
I'm Miss Ireland.
Aselton?
Aseltine is my mother.
Miss Aseltine, according to your complaint, you, not your daughter, but you, rented a room from the defendant.
Yes, ma'am.
And you found that room on something on the internet called Craigslist
Yes, ma'am.
and signed a month-to-month lease.
I did.
When did you sign that?
March 1st, 2007.
Where had you been living before that?
I was residing in an apartment which I shared with my daughter, and she decided to move out on her own and get her own apartment. So I thought it would be good for me to move into a place where I could save a little money, maybe meet some new people, until I was able to purchase my own home.
How long had you been renting rooms?
I've been renting rooms for about 4 years.
What kind of property do you have?
I have a home in Elk Grove, California,
How many bedrooms?
5 bedrooms.
How many tenants do you have?
Currently 1,
How many tenants did you have when you had Miss Aseltine?
just myself and Cindy.
And it was a month-to-month tenancy.
It was.
It is your claim that Miss Neese terminated your tenancy without proper notice, and you want moving expenses, your security deposit back, and you want damages because you claim, assaulted both you and your daughter.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Neese says that you are not entitled to your security deposit back because you promised that you were going to stay through April, and you didn't. It is her claim that you actually assaulted her. So let's find out when the trouble began. You moved in March 1st.
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead.
About approximately a week after I moved in, I noticed some strange behavior from Miss Neese. When I was in the home alone, and especially when I had company over, I would notice some outbursts. Seems she was talking to herself, kind of laughing out loud. She'd walk through the home when I'd have company over and bang anything that would make noise, opening and closing compulsively the garage door. The washer was close to my room, so she'd slam the washer door up and down.
Got it. Let's move on.
Okay. And I became just really uncomfortable in the home. I'd find myself, I'd sign up for overtime, I'd go to the gym, anything to avoid coming home because her behavior was really disturbing, uncomfortable. And so I noticed that it became more obvious when I had company over, so I decided to talk to her about it. So maybe I was doing something wrong. And so I came home, and so I knocked on her door. She didn't answer, so that's when I called her cell phone, and I found that she was actually at home in her room. And she came out, and I had a conversation with her, and I said, is there something bothering you, lately? Because I've noticed that you've been slamming things around, banging things. And her response was, bang? I don't bang. I don't bang anything. I said, oh, okay, well, apparently, when my boyfriend's over, does he make you uncomfortable? No, I don't have a problem with your boyfriend. And I said, well, one night he spent the night here, and it seemed that you were really uncomfortable with that, and that's when I noticed the most noise. She goes, well, I didn't even know he spent the night. And she goes, well, it's in your lease agreement that you can't have any overnight guests. I said, well, I didn't notice that in my lease agreement. I apologize.
Was it in your lease agreement?
It was, ma'am, in my lease agreement.
Okay.
And I said, I respect that. And I said, well, that's something that I'm not sure if I can live with. I apologize. I overlooked that. And I said, if you feel real strong about that, then I think I might have to make a decision to move out. And I would go ahead and give you a proper 30-day notice. And she goes, okay, well, that's fine.
Fine. What day was that? That was in
Okay,
March?
that was of March. I sent her a copy, certified mail, which she...
May I see it, please?
Absolutely. That was sent regular mail as well as certified mail, which I have a receipt there. Ms. Neese
Okay.
never picked up the certified copy.
Okay, and you received this letter. terminating
Yes.
her tenancy.
Yes, I have
Fine.
it right here.
Good. So what happened?
Okay,
What was
so
next?
things were a little still uncomfortable in the house, so I decided to avoid her as much as possible. About a week after giving that notice to her, I came home and found that she was interviewing another tenant, which I gave her the privacy. I had went and cleaned up and got ready to go back out again.
I haven't
She
even
then,
met you.
she then,
You have a turn. Right now, plaintiff is talking.
Okay.
Go ahead.
after I had finished and cleaned up and the person had left, she had come and spoke with me and said, okay, well, when are you going to be moving your furniture out? I understand, I received your 30-day notice. And I go, well, I can start putting it in storage soon if you really need the space, because she was saying that she wanted to offer that space to the tenant. She goes, well, that's your right to keep it there for the remainder of the month. And, things seemed to be okay then, but she was still exhibiting some behaviors that I just didn't feel that.
I understand. You were moving out for a reason. Keep going.
Absolutely. And so I had received a phone call on March 31st. I was at the gym and I received a message from this niece. And on the message she says that she's demanding that she have a face-to-face meeting with me and discuss the 30-day notice agreement and finalize me moving out. And so I was kind of, I didn't understand.
Just tell me what happened. Don't
okay, so
tell
I
me what
called
you
her
were
up,
thinking.
and I said, I got your message. What's the deal with me having to come over? And she goes, well, I want you to speak to me face to face. I gave you the same respect when you gave me your 30-day notice. And I said, well, I really don't want to have any confrontation with you. You're making me feel really uncomfortable and threatened. She goes, well, if you do not come home right now, I'm going to lock you out. And I said, you can't lock me out. And she goes, I'm telling you, if you don't come home right now, I'm going to lock you out. At that point, she disconnected the phone call. Me and my boyfriend were at the gym. I said, come on with me. She's threatening to lock me out. I need to go home. When we got there, me and my boyfriend entered the home, and Miss Niece was in the kitchen. She had already taken all my groceries out of the fridge and out of the cupboard and had set them up on the counter as if she was moving me out. I said, what are you doing? Please put my things back. You can't move me out. What's the problem? And at that point, she came around the counter of the kitchen with her finger in my face, and she goes, girl, you better shut your mouth, because in the name of Jesus, I'm going to smack the devil out of you. At that point, my boyfriend placed his body in between us because she was this close in my face, and he's that face to me, and he's like trying to block her. And she turned around, and she swung about backside of him and hit me upside the head. At that point, I grabbed my cell phone. She grabbed her cell phone. I called the police. She called 911. The police arrived, a female police officer. Police officer went and spoke to Miss Niece. Miss Niece had stated that she was going to be locking me out of the house, and the officer had stated, legally, ma'am, you cannot lock her out of the house. And she goes, don't you tell me how to run my
Can I
household.
see the police report, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, when did the incident happen with your daughter?
Same day.
Same day?
It was a little bit later on that day when I had came. The police officers had actually left at a certain point, and my mother had called my boyfriend and get a U-Haul to get all of her things, and we both ended up showing up at the exact same time as my mom with the U-Haul, and that's when I arrived.
And what happened with Miss Niece?
Well, we came into the house, and she was in her bedroom, had shut the door, was in her bedroom, like the police officer told her to stay in the room. I went into this little front area that was right next to her bedroom door and started to grab furniture. And I grabbed this big glass top that was to one of my mom's coffee tables, and I started going out. And then Miss Niece came out of her room and was really mad and angry, and was directing a lot of anger at myself and at Ryan, saying that he didn't have any right to be in the house, and that was saying something about how we couldn't go through the garage door. She was telling us we had to go through the front door for some reason, and I was standing on my way to the garage door. She was really livid and saying that we couldn't be in our house, that we had no right to be in there, and then she comes up behind me and grabs me by the back of my neck and kind of pushes me and then kind of hits me. And then Miss Niece turned around to my mom and starts getting in her face, and she's throwing her hands wildly and stuff, and then she goes to make a fist like she was going to strike my mom, and I grabbed her arm and I put it down and I said, don't touch my mom. And then it just turned into a scuffle where she was just being really wild.
Okay, Miss Niece, I
Yes.
would like you first to tell me your version of the events of the 31st of March.
Okay, Saturday, March 31st, I initiated a call to Cindy to finalize things in the matter. She had sent me a letter March 20th indicating that she was going to move out at the end of April. And so I wanted to finalize things as far as obtaining the rent for April.
She already told you that she was going to give you the rent April 3rd in the letter.
Right. In my lease, it indicates, in the initial agreement that we signed, it indicates that if any rent is not paid time or in full, that they will forfeit the security. That's in item number 2 in our
What
lease.
difference does that make? She already said, I'll pay you your rent on April 3rd. It's in her letter that she sent to you.
Because I just like to do things decently and in order, so...
This is decently and in order. You called her on her cell phone.
I called her on Saturday and I asked, because she had initiated an appointment in mid-March. She wanted to see if her boyfriend could stay overnight, and she knocked on my door. Actually, I was napping, and she knocked on my door until...
Shh, don't interrupt her. I'm just asking you what you told her on March 31st. You called her, she's at the gym.
On March 31st, I asked her if she had any time in the afternoon. I said I'd appreciate if we could finalize things and, you know, get the rent. So then she started cursing at me, and she started getting really violent on the phone and calling me up.
Did you tell her she had to come home or else you were going to change the locks?
No, absolutely
not. Did you take her food out of the refrigerator? I'm speaking.
No, I didn't actually.
Did you take her food out of the refrigerator and place it on the counter?
No, not...
Did you tell the police when they arrived that you were planning on changing the locks and locking her out?
When she started cursing at me on the phone, because she, by the way, she's been pretty violent before, so when she came home from the gym, she came home and she kicked me, which I have a photo of the bruise on my leg from when she kicked me then. At that point, I had called the police, and because I had wanted to have her arrested. So when they came over, they kind of separated us, got both versions of what had happened, and so I didn't have her arrested at that point.
The police found you very agitated, Ms. Neese. According to all 3 police officers who arrived at the scene...
Well, she assaulted me. I have pictures. She admitted biting me on the arm.
There was an altercation. There's no question there was an altercation.
Well, I actually didn't touch her or her daughter. Both of them came home. She called her daughter, and they both came in, and then they assaulted me in my room. And that's why I had called the police a second time. When I was on the phone with the police, I was terrified. They said, "Where are you?" I said, "I locked myself in my room," because I was afraid they were going to come in again. I have pictures of the door and from when they tried to barge in my door. All the bruises, they hit me.
What do you do for a living, Ms. Neese?
I'm an insurance broker.
For a company?
For myself. I have my own agency, and I'm going to school for court reporting.
Do you operate out of your home or out of an office?
I'm usually on the road, but my office is out of my home, yes.
So you don't have an office other than at your home?
Correct.
And how long have you been doing that?
5 years.
You make a living at that?
Yes.
The last time you had a tenant prior to the plaintiff, what was that tenant's name?
Prior to Cynthia? She was the first tenant in that home.
So you'd never had a tenant?
Not in this home. When I was in the Bay Area, I've had tenants. She was the first tenant in this home.
Judge, I have some information regarding the tenants in the Bay Area.
Cynthia Aseltine and daughter Danielle Ireland are accusing Cynthia's former landlord, Sydney Neese, of 2 assaults.
Now, you wanted to say something?
Yes, San Mateo County Courts, there's 3 claims regarding Ms. Neese in regards to tenant-landlord. 2 times she was a defendant, and 1 she was a plaintiff regarding the same situation, withholding deposits.
Can I see
and so
that?
forth. Actually, I didn't print it out, but if you go to San Mateo County Courts, it is public record.
You had 3 landlord and tenant actions while you were there? One is a plaintiff and one is a defendant?
I'm not sure what she's referring to, but it was just probably a lack of, my income. But with regard to
No,
this...
I'm not talking about... I'm asking you whether you had 3 previous landlord and tenant actions.
I think there was 1, and it was just because I was having problems, with cash flow, but they have since been paid back.
1 was that she put a stop pay on a deposit as a tenant herself.
That sound familiar?
I'm not sure what she's referring to, but I would appreciate if we could talk about this case today and why, I don't believe that I owe her the security deposit.
You absolutely owe her the security deposit. There's no question that you owe her the security deposit.
Okay.
You told her to leave. I've read the police report. You said you wanted her out that day. She left. She did not stay the month of April, despite the fact that she said she was planning on paying April's rent. You absolutely owe her the security deposit. There's no question about that.
Well, because she assaulted me, and I had to put out expense. She didn't return the key when she moved out.
I believe that this was an unfortunate circumstance, that everybody's tempers got very flared up.
Actually,
on that.
Mine did not.
Well, not according to
I
the
was
Miss Neese. According to the police,
I was
the only
blatantly assaulted by her and her daughter,
Neese,
and her boyfriend had to pull them off of me.
And the police department.
when
I'm speaking. When I'm speaking, don't speak.
Okay.
Clearly, not only did you claim that they were assaultive, you
I have
also. I'm
photographs of all the
speaking. I'm
assaults.
speaking. Do you hear me speaking? You also claimed conspiratorial behavior on the part of the police. You weren't satisfied with the police officer who came. You demanded their supervisor. 2 supervisors arrived. They couldn't calm you down. You demanded their supervisor. So everybody is in a conspiracy against you. There's something not right, Ms. Neese. All of that is clearly contained in the police report. I assume you have a copy of it.
The copy that I obtained from them does not contain that information. That's not what they had given me. They
May
gave
not
me
be what
one
they
line.
gave you, but that's what I have.
Okay, can I show you the pictures of my bruise?
Absolutely.
And actually, I still have them on my body.
Absolutely. Show me.
This is a picture of when she bit me in the arm.
She absolutely acknowledges that
And
she bit you in
then,
the arm, and she
a
says she bit
bruise
you.
on my
I'm
breast.
speaking. Don't you want to hear me speaking? She absolutely acknowledges that she bit you in the arm so that you would let her go.
Absolutely, ma'am.
Okay, can I tell my version of the story, ma'am?
When I
Yes,
contact
do.
the police department.
Don't.
What had transpired, basically, the whole issue, when she first, in the initial ad, I indicated no alcohol, no overnight guests, and she breached both of those. She was drinking a lot while she was there, and she was having overnight guests, her boyfriend. And I never even said anything because I didn't want to get into it. But then she mentioned, she talked to me that one day, and I said, no overnight guests. Are you okay with that?
So she gave
said
you notice.
yes.
Listen, I got it. I have other things to do today. She said, I'm moving. She sent you an appropriate notice that she's moving. Move on with it. Get to the 31st.
Right, but then she didn't pay the rent, and so I wanted
No. She has no obligation to pay the rent on March 31st. None. And if you demanded that she come home from the gym...
I didn't demand that she came home. I called her on the cell phone, and I said, do you have any time this afternoon? What's your availability?
I don't think you should have roommates. I don't think you should rent rooms to anybody. I don't. I think that you are a very, very nice lady who clearly should live alone, not with anybody else, because you can't make rules for adults. I mean, she's an adult lady. She's not a teenager. You didn't rent to a teenager. And if you don't like other people living in your house because other people aren't going to do things the way you do...
Well, it's not that I want to do things the way I want to do.
Don't.
But when I
rent
rented
a room.
They said no overnight guests. When
Absolutely
I rented, they
right.
set their
And she said I didn't...
and I honored them. So if she didn't want to...
Do you take medication? Do you take medication?
No, ma'am.
You should. Because I've already told you 4 times, this is the 4th time, that when I start to speak, you have to stop.
Okay.
You can't. There's something that's not working right. You owe her security deposit, which was how much?
It was $500.
Did either of you seek any medical treatment for your injuries?
No, ma'am.
Yes, I did.
I'm not talking about you. Now, where did you move when you moved?
I was actually homeless for 8 days. I was allowed to stay at my boyfriend is roommate with another roommate, and he was
fine.
out of town.
That's fine. Don't make up things as we go along. You weren't homeless because you were able to sleep someplace.
Well, yes. I mean, I was without a permanent...
Fine, and then you found someplace.
Yes, ma'am.
Perfect. Whole thing is very, very unfortunate. Really, very unfortunate. You want to say anything to me? No. You want your security deposit back?
Absolutely.
You got it. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $500. Your counterclaim's dismissed. That's all.
Why is that excuse for mixed step out?
Ray Wood claims ex-girlfriend Mindy Golden had him falsely arrested for burglary. Mindy is countersuing, claiming Ray made false allegations to Child Protective Services.
Mr. Wood, this lady used to be your girlfriend, and I would assume that the person standing on your side is your brother. Is that right?
Yes.
It is your claim, Mr. Wood, that the defendants falsely reported that you were burglarizing their home, causing you to be arrested. You spent money on attorneys, and you want to be compensated for their false reporting of this burglary. Miss Golden and her brother say that you actually were in their home without permission, which is a burglary. They say that you retaliated by calling Child Protective Services and claiming that the two of them were using drugs in front of their children, in front of your children.
Right.
And in addition, Ms. Golden is counterclaiming because she said because of your action, she was fired from her job. She wants to be compensated for her lost wages. When did this unholy alliance begin?
June 2004.
Did you live together?
No.
Ever?
No.
Did you ever stay over?
Occasionally.
How many times a week, Mr. Wood?
Once, maybe twice.
Did you have a key?
At one time, yes.
Would you occasionally go over to the house and answer my question? I don't want you to think of where I'm going, Mr. Wood. All I want you to do is try to tell me the truth.
Okay.
The truth will set you free.
Okay.
Did you ever go over to the house and wait for her to come home?
Yes.
Went into the house by yourself?
Yes.
That happened frequently?
No.
In the course of the year and a half that you were together, did it happen 10 times?
No.
Happened 5 times?
Maybe. Yes.
When you went over there and neither she nor her, prior to February of 2006, did anybody report that you were in the house without permission?
No.
Did you ever take anything that you weren't supposed to?
No, I did not.
Tell me what happened on February 17th, 2006.
It was about 7 o'clock in the evening, 7:15. I was in Binghamton, and I got a call from Mindy stating that her brother had caught me in the trailer. And she said that I didn't have any business being in there because we had broken up the previous week again.
It was longer.
Shh, shh. And what did you say to her?
What's going on? Why are you doing this? I'm in Binghamton. I haven't been in Windsor for over an hour. Why are you doing this? And she said, you were there. I'm going to see you in jail. I'm calling the troopers, and slammed the phone down.
Okay. Miss Golden, were you at home?
No, I was at work.
Your brother was at home?
Yes.
Your first name, sir?
Kevin.
Do you remember what day of the week the 17th of February was?
Remember the day? No, I don't.
Do you?
Yes, Tuesday.
Do you remember what time she called you?
7:45.
In the evening?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Golden. I want you to tell me what happened on the 17th of February.
Yeah, I went out to eat.
No, look at me.
Oh, I went out to eat with my girlfriend, came home from dinner, proceeded to enter in the door, and when I bumped into Ray coming out as I was coming in.
He was coming out?
Yes, ma'am.
And what did you say to him, and what did he say to you?
Just nothing. We were just both like, yeah. And I heard a hissing noise, and that was the propane. So I went to investigate that, and I turned around. By the time I fixed that, he was gone.
What was wrong with the propane?
It was unhooked from the tank. Hooks up to the trailer for heat and cooking.
And it's outside?
Outside, correct.
Now, when you went inside, what did you see?
Nothing really. It was dark.
No, inside the trailer, sir.
Oh, what did I see? Nothing really. He was coming out as I was going in.
Anything missing?
No, not to my knowledge, no.
Anything vandalized?
No.
The only thing unusual that you found was outside the trailer?
Correct.
Mr. Golden, I'm unclear, sir. Was Mr. Wood inside the house or outside the house?
Inside the house, ma'am.
Inside?
Yes.
Is there a key that you used to get inside the house?
Yes, ma'am.
How do you think Mr. Wood got inside the house?
Had his own key.
Did you have a key to the house?
No, I gave it back to Mindy.
I had asked for it back, and it took him a week to give it back to me.
So you got it back?
Yes, I did.
When, Mr. Wood, did you call Child Protective Services on the Goldens?
I didn't hear from the troopers for a week to 10 days on the charge. And so as soon as I left the troopers.
So you filed the charges with Child Protective Services after these charges were filed against you?
Yes.
No.
No?
No. I have
Really?
copies of the
That
reports
would've- you see,
the day
What?
that he was arrested, February 17th, against me and my brother.
after he was arrested. You have to stop trying to figure out where I'm going, madam. You're not that clever. When did you stop being involved in a relationship, Mr. Wood?
February 7th.
Had you been back to the house since February 7th?
No.
So all the information that you had on February 17th when you filed the charges with Child Protective Services, you had on the 7th when you left. Is
Yes.
that right? And I assume you filed the report with Child Protective Services, Mr. Wood, because you were concerned about the child.
Yes.
And you filed those charges indicating that there was drug use in the home.
Yes, I did.
Now, what were you doing between February 7th when you broke up and February 17th?
As far as what? I don't
I
understand.
want to know if you were incapacitated.
Oh, no.
I want to know if you were hospitalized.
No.
So you want to tell me, sir, why you waited from February 17th to report to Child Protective Services something that you must have felt very strongly about this drug use in front of a child, right?
Right.
So explain to me why you waited 10 days.
I thought maybe it would change.
So what told you that it wasn't going to change when they filed these burglary charges against you? Is that what you're telling me?
No.
You mean it was just a coincidence?
I thought maybe.
You mean it was just a coincidence?
Yes.
That the charges were filed on the same day with Child Protective Services as the charges for burglary were filed against you?
Yes.
That's a coincidence, sir, that I find very hard to swallow. Because if someone is legitimately concerned about the welfare of a child, how old is your child?
He's 3 now. He was 2.
About a 3-year-old child that has no voice, then I assume that this drug use has been going on for a long time, right?
Yes.
That you would have reported it immediately, right?
Right.
You chose to wait serendipitously on the same day as you were arrested for burglary to report it to Child Protective Services.
Yes.
That would be unfortunate. Now, let us move on to your counterclaim.
Yes, ma'am.
Go.
He had filed another report against myself and my daughter's father. So 2 separate reports to Child
What were you
Protective.
doing with your daughter's father?
Nothing. He doesn't even know my daughter's father.
Well, what did he allege you were doing?
The same thing.
Did you ever smoke marijuana in front of your child?
No, ma'am.
Did your brother?
Not to my knowledge.
Well, you would know that, right?
I would hope so.
Let's get to the counterclaim.
Honestly, I just want him to leave me alone. And I wouldn't have filed the counterclaim if he hadn't done this.
Okay, so you're going to withdraw the counterclaim because you want me to deal with his claim of false arrest?
Please.
Mr. Wood, I believe you were there. How about that?
I wasn't there.
I believe you were. I don't see any other reason, sir. I understand that the grand jury refused to indict you probably because you really didn't do anything while you were there except maybe pull apart the propane so that they would run out of gas. That's what you did. I don't necessarily believe that he saw you inside the house, but I believe that he saw you there. I don't know what you were angry at, but I believe that he saw you there. And I believe that you retaliated, and you retaliated by filing charges against both of them for drug use. I believe that that's an inappropriate way to conduct yourself if you were legitimately concerned about the welfare of an infant. And what you do is you report those concerns immediately to protective services, and you don't wait until you have an axe to grind to do it. That's not what Child Protective Services is there for. So I believe that you were there on the 17th of February. I don't think that you were there to burglarize the house. And by the way, Miss Golden, you want him to leave you alone? He better leave you alone. Did you file for a protective order?
Yes, I did. And
do you have one?
I did. It ran out, but he was leaving me alone, so I didn't renew it.
How long did you have it for?
6 months.
So now he's leaving you alone?
Yes.
Perfect. Let it remain that way. Your lawsuit's dismissed, sir. You were there on the 17th of February. I believe you were there. That's all.
Marilyn James says her ex-boyfriend's ex-girlfriend, Melanie Darling, owes for purposely ramming her car.
Well, you two ladies had the misfortune of choosing the same ex-boyfriend. And according to your complaint, Miss James, Miss Darling got in a snit about something, and she keyed your car and then rammed it.
Yes.
Causing some damage. Miss Darling says, well, it was just a little accident. Didn't mean to do any damage to your car. And she was more than willing to pay the deductible if you put the matter in through your insurance, and they paid the bill. Okay, Miss James, this boyfriend, how long ago was he your boyfriend?
5.5 years ago.
You don't have children together?
Nope. We are mutual friends.
You have a mutual friend, or
we're
you
in the same circle of a lot of,
okay.
So we're around each other.
And how long ago, Miss Darling, was Don Juan your boyfriend?
About 1.5 years ago. This has nothing to do with him.
Okay. On what date did this incident happen with your car?
September 3rd.
Where were you?
I was over at a mutual friend's house. He was having a housewarming. We were all over there in the basement. We heard a lot of noise, and we're like, what's going on upstairs? And she comes downstairs, and she walks around, and she's laughing, and her friend comes downstairs, and she says, Melanie, come on, let's go. So she started laughing. She says, ha, 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 I'm not going to do anything. So they go upstairs, and she's still arguing, yelling, screaming upstairs.
Who's yelling?
She is. Her witness is upstairs talking to her, trying to calm her down. The boyfriend, the ex-boyfriend, he's on the stairs, and she calls down and says, do you want to speak with her?
What's his first name?
We wanted to keep his name out of it.
ex-boyfriend.
Ex-boyfriend. We wanted to keep his name out of it.
It's just ex-boyfriend is 2 words. If I had a first name, then I could just use 1 word. We could save a lot of time. Go ahead.
She calls down here and says, do you want to speak with her? He says no. So she is mad because he doesn't want to speak to her. So she goes outside, and 20 minutes later, my witness comes downstairs and tells me that she just...
Don't tell me what she told you. Which witness came downstairs? You. Step up, sir. Tell me your name.
Juwan Hamilton.
You don't mind if I use your name, do you?
No.
All right, Mr. Hamilton. On the 3rd, you were outside?
Yes.
What was the defendant saying?
The defendant was just basically saying, why is she here? And she just basically wanted to talk to our friend, which is my friend too, and their ex-boyfriend.
Ex-boyfriend?
Right. Okay, so she wanted him to come upstairs and talk to her, and he just all of a sudden came upstairs, and when he came upstairs, she went outside. She followed him outside, and the crowd followed him outside.
Did you go outside?
About 5 to 10 minutes later. When I went outside, what I observed was she walked towards the street. I guess her shoe was in the street, flip-flop, something of that nature. And Marilyn's car was parked 3 to 5 feet away from where she was picking up her shoe. So she said, whose car is this? This her car? She asked me. I said, no response. Then she asked other people, and she took her keys and just keyed her from the rear to the front of the driver's side.
You saw that?
Yes.
Then what happened?
Then I was amazed, and I looked at everybody else that was out there, and she did it again, going back the other way. She walked away and stormed and got in her car. Her car was parked across the street, and she got into the car, and she was with another friend of hers, and they pulled into our friend's driveway. They got out. Commotion was going on again. Don't know the words verbatim. And then after that, she got into the car again and said, well, I'm about to hit this B's car. And she reversed out of the driveway. She put it head on in front of Marilyn's car, and she put it in drive, and she sideswiped the side of it all the way up to maybe, her car was maybe adjacent or parallel to Marilyn's car.
Who was in the car with you?
Brooke, she's not here. She couldn't make it.
She couldn't make it. Is she?
She had work. She couldn't get off of work.
You don't work?
Yes.
You work?
Yeah, I work.
Everybody can get off from work except the lady who was in the car with you. Is there anything funny? You hear anything funny going on here?
I hear a lot of funny things going on.
Just a sec. I just wondered why you were laughing.
Oh.
I just answered my questions. I ask questions, you answer them. When you answer them, you stand up.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I was there.
Over there. Name?
General Lucas.
Were you in the car with Miss Darling?
No, I wasn't, Judge.
Were you at the party in the basement?
Yes, I was.
Were you outside after the commotion started outside?
No.
Did you see Miss Darling's car hit Miss James' car?
No, I didn't.
Good. You may have a seat now. So, Miss Darling, let me understand this. You brought a witness who was not outside, who did not see your car, hit Miss James's car, and you left the witness home who was in the car with you at the time you hit Miss James's car, something that you claim was an accident.
Right.
That witness you didn't bring, correct?
Right, yeah.
Good. Now, who is this person?
Well, she's my witness. Melanie was drunk that night.
Just a second. Was she there that night?
Yes.
Inside or outside?
She was in the basement with me, and when Joanna came and told me that she rent my car, she came upstairs and she called the police, and she was there when she tried to run me over.
Tell me your name.
My name is Erica Stiegel.
You know all these people?
I know of the defendant. I don't know her personally.
You were in the house, though, when she came in?
Yes.
When Miss Darling came, did she appear to you to be intoxicated?
Yes.
What indication did you have of her being intoxicated?
Well, first, when she came in, we heard like a lot of like heels like stumping, so we thought it was multiple people. And we looked up because we heard people at the steps, and somebody grabbed her. All we seen was legs. And so when they finally like let her go, she came down, and she walked around and she talked to the owner of the house, and she went back upstairs. And from that like little commotion, you could tell she was drunk.
You did not see any collision with Miss Darling's car and Miss James' car. Miss James indicates that you saw something happen afterwards.
Yes.
Would you tell me what you observed?
Well, after we, observed the car, we were right behind like a police station, so we're about to just walk up to the police station, and so we were walking along the sidewalk, and she just came flying around the corner, and everybody just got out the way. And so one of the guys that was at the housewarming came up in his truck, and he was like, guys, just get in the car, I'll take you up there. And so I guess she went around the corner, she came back around, and she swerved, tried to hit the truck. We had to go up on the grass. And he just took us to the police station.
Do you have a police report?
I do. I also
see
have
it,
pictures.
please. Police report, I'll take a look at the photographs as well.
Okay.
You were the witness, Mr. Hamilton, is that right? The police indicate that you told them what happened immediately that day.
Yes.
All right, now, Miss Darling, let me hear your version of the events.
Okay. First of all, it's, when I came over there, I came over with my friend. That's my best friend's house that we went over. Me and my ex-boyfriend that broke up maybe a couple of days before that has nothing to do with her. I would never even think of her when I think of him. She used to mess with him. That used to be her boyfriend or
Just
whatever,
get on
too,
with
so
what
I
happened
wouldn't
on
get
the
into that.
3rd, Miss Darling.
Okay, so this is what I'm saying. It's making me mad, this whole thing, because they're trying to make me
I don't care if it's making you mad. It's making me mad.
I just want to express my feelings on national
please
TV.
listen to me.
Huh?
You want to express your feelings?
Okay, let me tell you, this is
Go
what
on,
happened.
Dr. Phil.
I went over her house, I got in an argument. I got in an argument with my ex-boyfriend, went outside, I got in my car, I was off and embarrassed, so I jumped in my car. My car was not parked on the other side of the street, it was actually like in the middle of the street. My keys were inside my car.
Just a second, hold on a second. Your car was parked in the middle of the street.
I got out, we got out because of my friend.
I'm speaking. I have questions. As you're telling me your story, I have to interrupt you. That means you stop talking. Why was your car parked in the middle of the street?
My car was parked in the middle of the street because...
With the keys in it?
Because somebody was in the car. I took my car over there to drop my friend's car off.
Who was in the car?
The house we were over, that's my friend's baby dad. We were dropping her car off at the house. So she stayed in the car, and my other friend, Brooke, was in the car too. And then me and Brooke went in, then we came out. When I came out, I was arguing with my ex-boyfriend. Then I jumped in the car. Then the keys were in the car. Turned it back on or whatever and like pulled off. When I pulled off, I heard something like hit the side of my car. Didn't hit all of it either. It was just like a side swipe real quick or whatever, like hit the tire and pulled off. Then I'm like, oh, we hit something. We stop, look in the rear view, it's her car. So we make a circle around the corner, and when we come back in the corner, I'm looking at her car. That's when...
Just a second. Wait, listen, stop. You recognized that you hit something.
Right.
Stop speaking! When you hit something, you stop. You don't go round. Now, when you realize that you hit a car, and you didn't stop right away, according to you, you did eventually come back, did you?
Yeah, I seen her car.
Just to
right, yes.
The answer is yes, you knew whose car it was. What did you do?
I was going to go talk to her.
Don't tell me what you were going to do.
I sat in my car and was trying to get out to talk to her, and Juwan and the owner of the house came over to the car, and this is Juwan. She called the police on you. If I was you, I'd go in there and fight her and blah, 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 whatever. And then the other guy's telling me to stay in the car, don't get out the car, go home, call her tomorrow, whatever, tell her what happened because they're mad.
Are you employed?
Yes.
You have a cell phone?
I couldn't find my cell phone.
You couldn't find your cell phone?
I threw it at my ex-boyfriend.
Oh, no. You can always find your cell phone.
No, I threw it at my ex-boyfriend. I didn't find it till the next day.
Really?
Right.
So you were really angry. You mean you threw something at him? How many things did you throw at him?
A couple of fists and a cell phone.
Yeah. Really? So in addition to throwing the cell phone at him, you punched him.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Right.
That was before you got into the car that was parked in the middle of the street?
Right.
Good. What you indicate is you were prepared to pay the deductible on her insurance.
Well, I told her I'd help her pay for it. I felt responsible. And
you
I
are
asked
responsible. What do you mean you felt responsible? You are responsible.
Well, that's maybe why I was feeling like it, because I was responsible, right? So, anyways, I told her that I'd give her the money, and I'm like, was your deductible 100, 200, 500? And she said, oh, it's 500. And then she told me she had to make a couple more phone calls.
Why? Listen to me. Why in the world would she report this matter to her insurance company? You pay the deductible, 100, 200, 500. Her insurance rates go up for the next 5 years. Why would she do that when you hit her car in a fit of anger? Now, you may not have been angry with her car, but you were certainly angry enough with the boyfriend out there to punch him and to throw at least your cell phone at him. Why would she want to report it to her insurance company?
Well, why did she agree to it?
I don't believe she did.
That's why he's here. That's her
Listen,
friend.
Mr. Smiley, I wouldn't believe it if he told me that today was Tuesday. Little too happy for me.
Just a happy person, Judge.
Get unhappy.
Okay.
Get unhappy. Shh. Your temper, my dear, is going to cost you $2,568. That's what tempers cost.
That's not
an attitude. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Susan Jane Schoonmaker is suing her daughter, 20-year-old Heather Huddleston, for stealing and pawning her wedding rings. Heather claims she had her mother's permission.
Ms. Schoonmaker, this young lady's your daughter, and according to your complaint, she owes you some money. She owes you some money because, as a result, according to you, of her drug abuse, she fell behind in her rent. She and her boyfriend, and she came to you for money, and you gave her jewelry to pawn. She pawned the jewelry. She was supposed to get it out. She didn't. You lost the jewelry. You want the money. Is that right?
Well, she also stole my wedding rings out of my jewelry box and pawned them without my knowledge.
For how long has your daughter had a drug problem?
I didn't know that she had one. She told me it was her boyfriend.
When she came to you and asked for money, she told you that the boyfriend had a drug problem?
She said that he was spending money on things he shouldn't and stuff like that.
So then why in the world would you give her jewelry to pawn?
I gave it to her so she would have a place to live. I didn't want her.
Why couldn't she come home?
I have other children that I don't want exposed to the lifestyle that she was doing.
Well, just a second. I thought you said there was nothing wrong with her lifestyle. It was the boyfriend.
And I don't know what her lifestyle was. I know that she was spending money and doing things that she should not be doing. That's the reason that
you shouldn't have given her your jewelry.
You're right.
So then what are you doing in court?
I'm doing it in court because she stole rings from my jewelry box that I had no knowledge of.
I want you to forget about the pawn jewelry.
Right.
And I think that you knew what her lifestyle was, and that if you gave her jewelry to pawn, there was no legitimate expectation of you getting this money back, because drug abusers don't return money. Drug abusers put money in their arms or up their noses. Right, Miss Huddleston?
Yes, ma'am.
Your mother says that after she gave you this jewelry to pawn, which you did, you stole some property from her. Did you?
That's not true.
Well, tell me about these wedding rings that she said that you took.
The wedding rings she never wore, and I came upon a time when I needed money for rent, and she told me to go ahead and take the jewelry out of her jewelry box, the wedding rings, to pawn them so I could pay rent, because she never wore them. She hasn't worn them in 5 years.
That's not true.
What other jewelry did she give you?
Previously, she had given me a bag of gold necklaces and a ring that my grandmother had given her. She offered it. I never asked her for money. I told her that I was having problems, and she offered it to me.
That's not true.
What kind of drugs were you or are you involved with?
I was smoking marijuana, and she knew.
And the boyfriend?
Anything and everything.
But not you?
The only thing I ever did was marijuana.
Susan Jane Schoonmaker says her daughter, Heather Huddleston, stole her wedding rings and pawned them.
Still with the boyfriend?
Nope.
Who do you live with now?
I live with friends in Arizona.
Do you work?
Not yet. I'm a student.
You're a student where?
At massage therapy school.
Who pays for it?
I got a grant.
Who pays for your living expenses?
I do.
From what?
I have money.
From what?
Doing various jobs. I clean houses and babysit.
Oh, what a bunch of baloney. What a bunch of baloney.
It's true.
My dear Miss Huddleston, you wouldn't know the truth if it came up and cracked you in the face. The wedding rings, when did you find out that they were missing?
When I always go into my jewelry box because I keep my earrings and everything in there. I wasn't wearing the rings because one of the diamonds was loose.
Don't tell me when you weren't wearing them. You weren't wearing them.
I wasn't wearing them, and they were gone. I called her at school. She was going to massage therapy school at the time when this happened, and I said, my wedding rings are gone. Do you know where they are? Have you done? She goes, no, I don't know, but when I come home, I will help you find them. And she came home, and I sat her down, and I said, I'm calling the police. And once the police are involved, if you're involved, you're going to jail because I can't stop it. And she said she took them, and she pawned them, and she thought she could get them back in my jewelry box before I noticed.
That's what drug addicts do.
I know.
Not casual marijuana smokers. How much were the wedding rings pawned for?
$150.
Did you go to the pawn shop to try to get them back?
I didn't know what pawn shop it was, and her boyfriend called me and told me after she left him for no reason, he didn't even know that she had left him, that he went down to the pawn shop because that's where he gave her the money to go down and pick them up and bring them to me. She told me she was on her way to my house to do laundry and bring me my rings and never showed up. And this is the first time I've seen her since then. The pawn shop had sold all the rings a while ago. A guy that she met on the internet.
One guy? Or
One
friend?
guy with hid old girlfriend and his baby.
How old is she?
She'll be 21 in December. I've tried to help her. I don't know how else to help her. And I feel like she needs to start paying for the things that she's doing. And I just thought here at least she would start seeing what her actions are going to start becoming. They're going to get worse. I don't want to have to pick her up in jail. And I won't.
Sometimes you have to hit rock bottom before you're ready to turn your life around.
That's what I'm hoping.
When did she leave home?
She left home when she was 19.
You go to live with this boyfriend?
She knew him a week and left.
Who else lives at home with you?
My 17-year-old daughter, my 12-year-old daughter, and my 10-year-old son.
You know what these rings were appraised for that she took?
I went in and I got an estimate on what it would cost to replace all of the rings.
Not all the rings.
No, I know, but it has just them separated. My wedding ring and my engagement ring set is on here. $28.99 for the engagement ring and $880 for the wedding ring.
Are you still married to the man who
Yes.
gave you the rings?
Yes, I am. We've lived together for 16 years.
He's not her father.
He's not her father. But you'd never know the difference.
Anything you want to say?
She told me that those rings were remnants of an unhappy marriage and that she was happy to get rid of them. And that's why she let me pawn them. And I
never said that.
I just think it's really funny, you know, she was helping me out, and now because she's getting in trouble from my stepdad and my grandma, she's got to turn around and blame it on me, and I just don't think that's fair.
What do you think is fair?
I didn't do anything wrong. She gave it to me.
You did do something wrong. You came to your mother and you said, I got a drug addict boyfriend, I'm behind in the rent, you were living a lifestyle that was inappropriate, and you came to your mother, who clearly is not a rich lady, because if she was a rich lady, she would have had the money to give you for the rent. She didn't, so all she had was this bag of jewelry, and you're a big girl. You chose to be a big girl. You chose to move out of your house and live on your own.
I never asked her to help me. She offered to help.
How would she know that you needed anything unless you came to her and said, I don't have rent? Listen to me. How would she know that you needed money unless you came to her and told her that you didn't have rent money?
Because I came over one day and I was upset. And like any caring mother would, she asked what was wrong. At least I thought she was caring. Sorry.
You got to do the right thing. You still have time. If you continue to make bad choices in your life, you know what's going to happen. You're going to end up being, instead of a 20-year-old bum, a 40-year-old bum. If you lie down with dirt, you get dirty. Did you ever hear that expression? Did everybody say anything like that to you? If you lie down in dirt, you're going to get dirty. And it sounds to me like you went from the frying pan into the fire. It's not too late. You're still a young girl. But you better start making right choices. Because if you don't make right choices, you're going to end up a 40-year-old dirty girl instead of a 20-year-old dirty girl. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,500. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Robert Burridge is suing his ex-fiancée, Carla Jones, for money loaned and forged checks. Carla is countersuing, claiming Robert made false accusations to her probation officer.
Mr. Burridge, Miss Jones used to be your living girlfriend?
She was my fiancée.
And according to your complaint, she owes you some money. First for a loan, for insurance, well over a year ago. And then you claim that at some point she forged some checks.
Yes, ma'am.
And then you claim she's got some of your personal property.
Yes, ma'am.
Miss Jones says none of them were loans. She did, in fact, sign your name to checks. You knew about that. You did not report those forged checks, according to you, when you found out about them. But you continued to live together as a couple. But when you broke up, you, according to you, called her parole officer. You're on parole for something?
I'm off now.
And you called her parole officer to report the forged checks. Is that right?
Yes.
Why'd you do that for?
Because she was forging checks while on parole, and
No, look at me, look at me.
It was a violation.
Let's get a timeline.
It's a violation.
Mr. Barish, listen to me. Don't interrupt me when I'm speaking.
Excuse me.
According to you, it was in October of 2004 that you found out that she had signed your name to some checks.
Yes.
How much in total were the checks that she signed?
$2,900.
And what were they for?
They were made out to her, signed by her, and cashed by her, and deposited to her account.
Okay. Now, when did you find out about these checks? So was that in October?
It was after she moved out in October.
So after you found out about these forged checks, how long did it take you to call her parole officer?
It took me until March of 2005.
Okay. Let's go. Checks, $2,900 worth.
No, nothing was stolen from him. No forged checks. We would pay our bills together. I would tally up how much utilities were or groceries, and I'd say, I need X amount of dollars. And he'd say, okay, go ahead and get a check, write it for that, deposit it in there, and pay the bills. And I'd
deposit it where?
Into my checking account. I'd always call him at work, or he would be home when we did it, and he would say, go put that in your checking account and then pay the bills, because I paid everything online.
What are you on parole for? Anything to do with
I'm
checks?
not on parole. I was on probation.
Probation, anything having to do with checks?
No, it was for a DUI.
Oh. How long were you living together?
About 2.5 years.
Who paid the bills, sir?
The arrangement was that I paid the rent because it was a considerable amount of money, and she picked up the tab for the utilities and the food.
What precipitated your leaving in October of 2004?
Well, the relationship was kind of going sour, and in August of 2004, we had been going to some counseling to see if we could work through some of the issues. And I realized in my heart that it just wasn't going to work out for me, that I wasn't going to be able to go through with the relationship. And of course, he was very upset. And I told him at the end of the lease, which was November 1st of 2004, that I'd be moving out by then and getting my own place.
Robert Burridge says ex-fiancée Carla Jones stole money by forging his check, countersuing, claiming Robert made false accusations to her probation officer.
Okay. When for the first time, Ms. Jones, did the plaintiff confront you about these checks?
Towards the end of the year after I had moved out, we were still talking to each other, and he would come over sometimes on the weekends, and I just felt really sorry for him.
Just tell me what he said to you about the checks.
He called me on the phone close to Christmas. I said I didn't want to see him anymore. I said, I don't want you coming over anymore. I don't want to see you at all. It's done. I don't even want to be friends with you. And that's when he threatened he was going to go to the police station and tell them that I forged these checks while we were together. And I said, you know, that's a lie. How can you go tell a lie like that? And he says, I can say whatever I want. And then in March, I finally just told him, I said, I can't see you anymore. We're kind of seeing each other on and off, on and off. Well, he told me he was going to go to the police and do this. So I guess the next day, which was March 14th.
So the first time he spoke to you about it was in December of 2004.
Threatening to do this.
On what date did you contact her probation officer?
It was the 15th of March.
What happened between December and March, sir?
I was investigating
You already knew about it, and you confronted her with them. And if you had been concerned that she had forged your name to checks and you felt that it was the right thing to do to notify her probation officer, why didn't you do it in December or January or February?
I was hesitant. I wanted the relationship to go on. During the counseling sessions, the counselor asked me if I loved her, and I said yes. And the counselor asked her, did she love me? And she said she didn't know. And the counselor said, did you love him when you took that engagement ring? And she said, I don't know. And I wanted this relationship to last. It was very important to me. She was very important to me. And I figured that the less waves, the better the chances of the relationship working.
But it didn't work, sir.
It didn't work.
It didn't work. And the response to it not working is not to behave in a retaliatory way.
That's right.
The response to it not working is say, you went to counseling, she didn't deceive you. She said, we'll go to counseling, we'll see if we can get it to work. And she was being honest. She said, I don't know my feelings. She wasn't trying to be hurtful. If she wanted to be hurtful, she wouldn't have gone to counseling with you.
She deceived me when she accepted the engagement ring.
No, you know, you're talking about there's hard evidence and then there's soft evidence. You know, the divorce rate in this country is 52%. Now, all of those people who divorce, when they sit back, you know, a year later, 6 months later, 5 years later, they say, gee, I wonder if I really loved him. I wonder if I really loved her when I walked down the aisle. You know, or was it something else? It was, you got to get married, or, you know, I fell in love with the beautiful face, or I fell in love with the bank account, whatever it was. Was it really him? I'm really not sure. You know, I really don't know in my heart anymore. That's what people say to themselves.
It was the bank account.
Well, it's all a package. You know, she's an attractive lady, right?
Yes, she is.
She's a very attractive lady, well-spoken. Do you think that if she was an unattractive lady and not well-spoken, you would have been attracted to her? No. You may have gotten to know her better and said, gee, she's got a wonderful soul. But what attracted you to her initially was she's a pretty lady, she seems intelligent, and she's well-spoken, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Part of your package is that you had some dough. That's it. You just have to accept that. And you know, I'm not such a genius that I figured this out myself, because Donald Trump's wife was interviewed recently, and they said to her, would you be married to him if he wasn't Donald Trump, if he wasn't who he is? And she said, you think he'd be married to me if I didn't look like this? Do yourself a big favor. Put a period. It didn't work out. You both gave it your best shot. You should not have called a probation officer. It was a nasty thing to do. And you should not have waited to see the result of this counseling before you decided that what she did was criminal, because then I find your motives suspect.
The reason we actually separated was in August. I told her that her drinking had become a problem, and if she didn't stop drinking, we were not going to renew the lease and live together.
But even after that, you went to counseling with her, because according to you, you loved her.
I did love her.
What I'm telling you is, it didn't work out. That's very sad. Looks like a nice guy. I hope you find another nice one.
She's engaged to another guy already.
Well, then you should look up and say, thank you, God, I didn't make a mistake. Right? Instead of suing her. Case is dismissed, sir. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Ronnie Garcia and Anthony Blanks are suing Anthony's cousin, Cassandra Carey, for a stolen car stereo and for the return of their pit bull, Coco.
This is your cousin, is that right?
Yes.
And your name is?
Anthony Blanks.
This is your wife?
My girlfriend.
Girlfriend. And you live together?
Yes.
And your cousin was living with you?
Yes.
Does your claim that she borrowed your car with your permission, and while she had your car, the stereo and amps and whatever was stolen out of the car, you believe she should be responsible for that?
Yes.
And also, when she left, without notice to you, she left and she took one of your dogs.
Yes.
Ms. Carey says that she took the car to school and the car was broken into and the stereo taken. It's really not her fault. It was a criminal matter. And that the dog was hers. Let's deal with the easy stuff first. Let's deal with the dog first. When was this dog purchased?
June of 06.
Who went to purchase the dog?
All three of us.
How many dogs were purchased?
2.
How many had you intended to purchase?
1.
Why did you purchase 2?
I couldn't decide which one I wanted.
Why do you think that Miss Carey would believe that the one that she took with her was her dog?
I have no idea.
Well, why don't you tell me?
June being right before my 21st birthday of 06, I fell in love with the dog the moment I saw her when we arrived at the home. And I wanted the dog. It was stated there at the woman's house that it would be an early birthday present, and I was to help with the other dog that we purchased along with the dogs that were already at the house prior to the purchase.
Mr. Blanks, was your niece living with you?
No, she was there off and on the weekend. Actually, for the day of her birthday, she was in Vegas or Reno. I don't remember. I can't recall which one.
You mean after August?
Yeah, she was back with her mother.
Where was the dog?
At my home, at mine and my girlfriend's home.
Okay. Were you living with your mother?
I was back and forth between the two, yes.
And when you went to your mother, where was the dog?
At their house.
When did you take the dog?
On March 27th.
You returned the dog within 5 days. Do you understand?
I'm not giving that dog
Oh,
back.
yes, you are. Oh, yes, you are. Listen, if I felt as if it was your dog, there's no question that dog would be with you. But when you have a dog that's yours, it's with you 24/7. Not when you go back to your mother, you leave the dog with them, they take care of the dog, then you come back, then you go to your mother, and then you come back, and the dog stays with them. You don't do that. That's not fair to the dog. I don't care about you. You are irrelevant. The dog has a companion, and this was the dog's home. And just because you may have been moving and said, well, now I'm going to take my dog, the dog was living in a perfectly comfortable place for a year. You can't uproot an animal like that. Go buy yourself a new dog.
When I tried to take the dog, when I moved out initially the first time, I wasn't allowed to. And
Then sue them. Then what you do is go to court. You were over 21. Take them to court and say, you have my dog, I want to take my dog. But instead you came back and forth and lived with them, and then you didn't live with them. You also borrowed their car, right? So you weren't angry with them. You have to return the dog to them. It's their dog. Go buy yourself another one. Do you get it?
Yes, ma'am.
I mean, I'm cutting an order, so they will come with a marshal to take the dog. Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
Good. You know where she lives?
No.
Oh, I'll find out. Where do you live?
I'm between residents right now.
Where's the dog? Don't look over there. Where is the dog?
She's at my boyfriend's house.
Where is your boyfriend?
He's here.
Here?
Here.
Well, who's taking care of the dog now?
We paid someone to babysit her.
At the house?
Yes.
Perfect. What's his address? Now! I don't hear you.
3700.
That's where the dog is. We'll cut an order. Take a marshal and go pick her up.
Thank you.
Next. Tell me about when the car got broken into. What was the date?
The car was broken into March 20th. The report was filed on March 21st.
Can I see the report?
There's 2. There's a supplement and an original.
Whose cell phone was taken?
Mine.
Was there an alarm system on this car?
Yes.
Had you turned the alarm on?
Yes.
And the car was locked?
No, the locks, when I was issued the vehicle from him, there was no seat belts, nor did the locks on the doors work.
Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Well, did you pay for the use of the car?
Yes,
the 2
ma'am,
months
I
that
did.
you had the car, is that right?
She paid for
February.
And she used it for a total of 3 months. The first time she used it, she took it to her boyfriend's house, and I told her I didn't want my vehicle there at his house because it was way out there in case something happened, like the breaking in issue. It would be a lot harder for us to deal with. I had to go basically steal my car back because she was in Reno again with him, drunk, and brought it back to my home. Her mother called me from Vegas, begging, pleading to let me just use it so that she could finish school, which I'd help her get into. to go to school and to work, which I helped her get a job at. So after about an hour on the phone with my aunt, I finally agreed to let her use the car just to go to work and school.
Fine. Who do you think should be responsible for putting the car back in the same condition as when you took it?
Initially, when we sat down to make the agreement as far as me taking the car, he stated that if anything happened to the car, that's why there was insurance on the vehicle. So I would assume it would be the insurance. Being as it was in my possession, I do accept some form of liability as far as the belongings being taken.
Good. How much was the new stereo?
About 150.
Good. And the amp?
It's about 250, 300.
You have homeowner's insurance?
Yes.
You do?
Yes.
Oh, perfect. File it with your homeowner's insurance. With regard to this is not her fault. She would pay for it unless you had homeowner's insurance, but you have homeowner's insurance, so put it through your homeowner's insurance. It covers the contents of your car. You know that. That's why you smiled before at me. But you go get your dog back. Now. Do you understand? Go buy yourself a new pet. I just saved you $200. That's all. Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Tyrone Smith claims ex-girlfriend Christy Bruffett lied to him about the paternity of her child. Christy is countersuing, claiming Tyrone has been harassing her.
Mr. Smith, it is your claim that the defendant defrauded you and leading you to believe that you were the father of her child. You want attorney's fees and all kinds of compensatory damages. Ms. Bruffett says that you knew all along that you were not the baby's biological father, and she is counterclaiming for harassment and other stuff. I assume that there was a time that two of you were in a relationship.
Yes.
And when was that?
2001.
Are you asking me? I wasn't there.
No, it was in 2001.
And when was your daughter born?
My daughter was born January 7th, 2001.
Were you together at the time?
Yes.
Yes, we were.
I'm going to go to you. Your answer suggests that Mr. Smith was aware all along that he was not the child's biological father. I'm going to hear your explanation with regard to that.
Yes, he was, Your Honor. We had started dating briefly when we were working together in December.
December of 2000?
Of 99.
December of 99.
Yes. He had left Minneapolis and went to Chicago for what he said would be a brief period of time when we first started dating, in turn being quite a few months.
How many months?
He left towards the end of January of 2000. He did not return until close to the end of April of 2000.
Is that right?
No. Ain't no way Chrissy told me that little girl was mine, and I signed.
Whether you went to Minneapolis.
No. I was working in Minnesota, so ain't no way I left.
Okay, keep going, Miss Bruffett.
My child was conceived at the very beginning of April by Matthew Moore. When he returned, it was the end of April. He had known of me and Matthew's relationship, but was
Don't tell me what he knew. Tell me what you said to him.
I had told him that I was in a relationship when he had came back from Chicago. Matthew, in turn, towards the end of May, had left and decided he was moving to Florida, and me and Tyrone had started dating again then. But he knew I told him that I was pregnant before he had came back from Chicago in a phone conversation.
Is that right, sir?
No, ma'am.
Doesn't sound right to me.
No, ma'am.
Keep going.
Okay. Up through the pregnancy, we were together, we were dating, all the way up and through my daughter was born. When my daughter was born, he had told me that throughout the whole time that he wanted to be a father to her. He would be that figure because Matthew was not going to return from Florida. Tyrone had told me that he wanted to be the one to step up to the plate. He would take care of her. We would be together. We had plans on being engaged or being married in the future. He had told me then that he didn't want his family to know he wasn't her father because they already did not approve of me and his relationship.
Yana, okay.
So at that point, we had decided that he was going to be her father figure. When she was born, I had told him that I wanted to leave the birth certificate blank in the case that Matthew were to ever return, and that was only fair. And he said that that wouldn't be viable to his family or mine. We argued back and forth about it.
How did this all play out then after 2001? That's what I want to know. Because right now, the child is 6 years old.
Exactly.
And so I want you to tell me, Mr. Smith, what happened 6 years later that brings you to court today?
Well, I was served papers for child support, and I hired myself a lawyer because I wanted
Who filed the petition for child support?
No,
He did, Your Honor.
she applied for welfare.
No, I didn't, Your Honor. I work full-time. I got papers in the mail being served that I was the defendant in a case regarding him taking me to court for visitation. I have to pay child support in our county in order to have visitation with my child. He brought the action, Your Honor. He is the plaintiff on both of these.
Well, there was a motion in Hennepin County for child support.
That was an action that he brought with
He brought
a
an
visitation.
action For what? For child support? To pay child support?
In our
You
county,
brought
you
an
have
action to
to.
pay child support, sir?
No.
I never heard of that. I've been a judge for a very long time. See, Miss Bruffett, my problem is he's fighting the child support in this action.
Exactly.
He's fighting it. He doesn't want to pay it. He's saying, listen, I have no money left. You know, I have a 5-month-old baby. I live. Here's my rent. Here's my lease on my apartment. Here's what I earn.
Yep.
I can't afford to pay any more child support, so I don't get the fact that he petitioned the court for child support. Now, why do you keep looking for her, sir?
Ain't nobody looking for Chrissy.
You weren't looking for her?
No.
I have
For what
police reports
reason?
to that effect, Your Honor.
I'd like to see the police report, please. The only indication here that's interesting is he said he wanted to come over to see the child they have in common. And victim, that would be you, advised that he couldn't come over and that he's not supposed to be calling. So he said, I want to come over to see my daughter. And you said he couldn't. You didn't say it's not your daughter.
Ain't no way I called.
Shut.
Okay.
I do also have that actually in a court finding paper that when we were in court in front of a judge for this order for protection 2004, that I was very adamant through all of that she was not his child, and I just wanted him to leave me alone.
That I want to
That's
see.
all I've ever asked, is that he just leave us alone.
Sir, what I want to know is why you're here now in 2007 when in 2004 she clearly told you that you were not the father of this child.
Right.
She told you that
Exactly.
3 years ago.
Yep.
What woke you up now?
What woke me up now was, I don't know, it took
Your
me,
Honor, he
you
has
know,
been harassing me for
I
6.5
don't-
years.
yeah, but-
This is just another form. I'm sorry.
What woke me up, I don't know.
Well, why don't you say something to try to wake me up, sir? She told you at least
Well,
three
the
years ago.
reason-
Listen to me. At least 3 years ago.
Right.
At least 3 years ago, she insisted before a judge that you are not the father of the child.
Why she didn't let that be known to the child support people then?
Listen, I don't see any of those papers. I mean, you don't have those papers. What you gave me were papers where, in the matter of the child, you are the plaintiff.
Exactly.
You're the plaintiff, not the county. You're the plaintiff.
Otherwise, Your Honor, he have papers to the effect of Hennepin County.
And that's
versus
July of 2006.
Exactly.
July 2006.
Listen, if you're going to agree with me once more, I'm going to throw you out and grant this petition. Do you understand? Good. I don't get it.
Yeah, I'm kind of lost too. You got me
Well,
lost too.
I'm kind of lost too. I mean, you were
But-
told by a judge 3 years ago that she says you're not the father of the child. And now you want attorney's fees and court costs and everything else for an
Yeah.
attorney that you just hired 3 years later in order to get visitation and have a blood test done, and you want the blood test done. She told you weren't the father.
Yana, I had to hire that lawyer because I didn't have an address. I didn't know how to serve her
Your
her
Honor, my
papers.
address is private from him.
She put an order of protection on me, so ain't no way I can get her address.
What did you need her address for?
So she can get served her papers.
What
for my,
papers?
For
I don't want to hear
visitation
you.
see
Don't you
I
get
live.
it?
To see, visitation
You know,
to see
I don't
live.
think that you're worried about him because you keep interrupting him. You know, if you were cowering and worried about him, as you indicate you are in your answer, then you wouldn't be freely contradicting him. Maybe that'll get you to be quiet. How much support did you pay over the last 6 years for your daughter?
6 years, I just.
Alleged daughter.
How much did I pay? About $1,000.
Show me.
That was my daughter. Ain't no way I'm gonna keep a receipt.
Show me.
You know, I did that from the kindness of my heart. You know, ain't no way I'm gonna buy that little girl
Well-
something and say I want it back.
No, I didn't say buy her
No.
something. I said support. You weren't living together for 6 years. Support.
You got me on that one.
Now, when was the last time, Miss Bruffett, that you alleged that Mr. Smith bothered you?
The last incident was the last job that I had to leave because of him when I filed for that last order for protection
Would you give
in
me the
2004.
date, please?
It was February of 2004.
Well, that's a long time ago. It's over. Put a period. Finished.
Yes.
Not a good idea, if I believe you, which I'm sort of on the fence about. Not a good idea to insert somebody else's name on a birth certificate that is not biologically related to a child. It confuses the child. Put your hand down. Do you understand?
I do.
Unfair.
I do.
Unfair. Look what happens. She'll go try to get a kidney from him. And what'll happen when she's 18? Ridiculous. Mr. Smith, you are finally free.
Yes, ma'am. I am.
Thank you.
I am. I dodged the
And Miss Bruffett would really like you to leave her alone.
Been there, done that. Long time
And
ago.
I think that you're going to leave her alone.
Oh, yeah. Been there, done that. I got a wife and a son that needs me more than anybody, you know.
Your case is dismissed. It's over. Finished. Put a period. So is yours. Finished. Over. It's dismissed. Goodbye.
Thanks, John.
22-year-old Amy Freshley is suing former friend Herman Velasquez for rental car charges and for damages to the vehicle. Herman claims he owes Amy nothing.
Miss Freshley, you had an automobile accident.
Yes.
You knew the defendant, who was a mechanic, and you entered into an agreement with him that he would fix your car.
Right.
And according to you, your agreement was that the car would be ready in a week or 5 days. If it went over that, he was going to compensate you for the rental car.
Exactly.
Now, the car wasn't ready on time. He was supposed to pay for the additional days.
Right.
In addition to that, it is your claim that he took the rental car.
Exactly.
Which, for some reason, you left at his shop, drove it, and caused damage to it, and you were being charged by Enterprise Rental Car for the damage that you ascribed to him.
Exactly.
Okay. The car you were in an accident with was a 95 Tahoe?
Yes.
Is that your car?
Yes.
Alone?
Me and my boyfriend's car.
Who purchased it?
We both did.
You have insurance?
Yes.
Did the insurance pay for the accident?
Yes.
How much?
$4,045.
Who did they pay that to?
Paid it to me and my boyfriend.
Did you take the money?
I took the money and paid Herman $2,800.
They paid you $4,000 for something that he fixed for $2,800?
Yep.
And it never dawned on you to take the rest of the money and give it back to them?
They didn't ask for it back. They said they wouldn't pay for the rental, so I figured I'd use also some of that for a rental because I wouldn't have a car for a week.
Okay. So let us say he took the car, which you acknowledge. He took the car.
Yeah.
Don't acknowledge that you had an accident with it or that you damaged it.
No.
But you acknowledge you took it.
Yeah.
So let's say $2,800 is what he charged you for the car.
Yes.
Plus you say that he should be responsible $340 for the additional days that the car was rented
Yes.
when he didn't have it fixed on time.
Yes.
Right? Plus $340. Plus $701 for damage to the car.
Yes.
That's $3,841. Did you have any other expenses by virtue of this accident that you had?
No.
Well, my calculations are that you're still ahead $200 from what you scammed out of the insurance company. You expect me to give you more money? What are you looking at me? Am I speaking some sort of a foreign language?
No, I just expected to be paid for a car that I rented, and he said he'd pay for the extra week.
You didn't pay for the extra week. Your insurance company did. Think of it this way. On what date did you have the accident? March 29th?
Yes.
March 29th. On March 29th, you started off with a car that was in good running order.
Yes.
Right? And zero in the bank. On April 15th, you had $4,045 in the bank from the insurance company.
Yes.
2 weeks later, you had your car back. You had rented a car, and you still have an extra $200 in your bank. Now, what you want me to do is give you the extra $200, plus you want him to pay you $1,100.
Yes, I will.
That means that at the end of this accident, you have your car
It doesn't
and an
matter what
extra $1,300. Insurance isn't supposed to make you rich, madam. It is supposed to compensate you for your damage.
But that wasn't the deal when I had rented.
The deal that you entered into with your insurance company is to be an honest insured. I'm speaking. The deal that you entered into with your insurance company is that if you had an accident, they were going to compensate you for the reasonable cost of having your car fixed. And the reasonable cost of you having your car fixed was $2,800.
That's because he told me that's how much it was going to cost.
So why didn't you tell that to the insurance company?
I did. He actually wrote up something higher than what he was going to charge me.
And did you tell the insurance company that he did
No.
that? Let me tell you all about the doctrine of clean hands. The doctrine of clean hands is something that we learned very early on in law school. It says that when a citizen comes into court and asks the court to hear their case, they can't come in with dirty hands, which means they can't come in being wrong, scamming somebody and saying, well, he's a worse scammer than I am. Why won't you help me? What he did was worse. I had a deal with him. We had a deal that he was going to jack up the cost of fixing the car. He was going to have the adjuster come to his place and say it needs this and this and this and this and this. And he was going to get $2,800 to fix it, and I was going to end up pocketing the rest, which was $1,000 or whatever. And the only one that was going to be out is the insurance company, and they got plenty of money anyway. So, madam, you get from me nothing. Zippo. Nada. Except a lesson in morality. Your case is dismissed.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Ryan Lapp claims his ex-girlfriend's friend, Mark Childress, entered his home without permission and assaulted him. Mark does not dispute the charge.
Mr. Lapp, it is your claim that the defendant assaulted you in your home.
Yes, it's true.
Mr. Childress acknowledges that he came to your home. He said you became confrontational.
Not true at all. Sorry.
Not so sure about it. In any event, what I gather from his answer is, if you got a whooping, you deserved it. That'd be a fair statement, sir.
Well, I'm
Let's
disappointed.
see. Mr. Lapp, according to what I read, you and some friends were hanging out in your house. And I don't know what you were doing and hanging around in your house, whether you were drinking or smoking or doing some drugs or whatever you were doing, but you decided to make some prank calls.
Yes.
On what evening was this, sir?
I believe it was on the evening of the 14th of July.
And you made a prank call, one of those prank calls, to the defendant's home. I assume that it's this young lady who was living in your home with you at the time.
Yes, Your Honor.
And she's a married lady?
2 days.
To this gentleman here,
Yes, Your Honor.
who was then stationed in Iraq. Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Tell me your name.
Ronald McCart.
What is your rank, sir?
I'm a specialist.
When did you get back from Iraq?
December 12th, ma'am.
Okay. So you called the defendant's home and you got this young lady on the phone. And what is your name?
Allison.
Now, did you know Allison?
Yeah, I did.
What had you been drinking, smoking, or snorting that night, Mr. Lapp?
No snorting or smoking anything other than cigarettes, but we were drinking gin that night.
And who was there?
It was me, my witness Andrew, and my neighbor from across the way, and my girlfriend.
What did you say to Allison when you prank called her, sir? Look at me.
There was a lot of prank phone calls being made, but I mean, I was on one of them. And what I said...
I want to know what was said when you called Allison.
I can't remember exactly, but I did say something to
you
the
don't
effect.
remember. So let's hear Allison. Allison, you remember July 14th?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
Who called you?
Mr. Lapp called my cell phone.
How did he have your cell phone number? Do you know?
Ryan is a previous boyfriend of mine.
Who's Ryan?
Mr. Lapp.
When did you stop seeing him?
In March.
March of 06? Mm-hmm. And when did you meet your husband? Okay, so he had your cell phone number. What did he say to you, Allison, when he called?
He said that I hope that they shoot your desert rat boyfriend in the head and that they don't find his body so he can't be buried here.
Not nice?
No, definitely not. Shouldn't have ever even been said, and that was totally unright on my part.
So, Allison, what did you do when you got that message?
I was very upset. A lot of crying.
Did you tell Mr. Childress?
Yes.
Okay. So what'd you do?
I listened to the tape.
Oh, she had it on tape?
There was 16, 17 vulgar, sexually abusive, and just derogatory phone calls over a period of an hour and a half made to the house. Very explicit, very sexually demeaning.
Why, Mr. Lapp?
Like I said, I couldn't tell you why. I wasn't even on any of those phone calls except for that one phone call where I did say what I said about her now husband.
But you gave the phone to your friends.
No,
or
I
you
didn't.
called the number.
No. Other people have her number other than me. That did not come from me. They all know her.
Did you make the phone calls?
Me?
You!
Yeah.
What am I looking at? Who else is there?
Yeah. I made about 2 or 3 myself. But everybody did have her phone number that was there, and they were all using their separate phones.
I didn't ask about anybody else. I asked about you.
Yeah, I made 2 or 3 phone calls.
Stand up. Why?
We just had we just had some against her. I don't know what it was, but we just didn't really like her.
Who cares? I don't like you. I wouldn't call you and say nasty things on your cell phone.
That's fair. We just, we were drinking, and it just...
Because you were acting like idiots, and that's what happens to idiots when they drink.
Yeah.
When they drink, they don't know what they're doing, right?
Yeah.
They don't know what they're saying, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes they become confrontational,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Now I'll hear from you.
After listening to this hour and a half of phone calls, I was so disappointed in Ryan. We'd invited him to our house. We've fed him. We've taken care of him. And it just really disappointed me. I couldn't imagine why he would sink so low. And then to talk about a gentleman who's not here, who's serving our country, that gives him the right to say the things that he did.
Yeah, sitting on his porch and drinking gin.
Exactly.
Right.
I thought this couldn't be the Ryan I knew.
So you went over there to see if somebody else creeped into his skin?
Well, my son-in-law lives in the same apartment that Ryan does. And we had an open door policy. They come to our house, we go to their house.
So you went over there?
I went over there and...
Look at me, Mr. Childress.
Wanted to see what was going on.
So what happened when you got there?
I asked Ryan, I go, do you know who I am? Because he was in bed. I saw that his girlfriend had just left.
So you went into his bedroom?
Yes, which is right next to my son-in-law's bedroom.
How did you get into the house?
The house is open.
Okay.
All right,
do you remember,
Yes.
Mr. Lapp, what happened? Because you were pretty drunk that night, according to you.
Yeah, I wasn't that drunk in the morning, though.
Oh, so this
Maybe
was
a little
the morning.
hungover. This was a little hungover. Yes, when he assaulted me, it was in the morning.
Go ahead.
I woke up, actually, my girlfriend was leaving the house. Once she had left the house,
Was she there when you were making these calls,
Yes,
these
she
crank
was.
calls?
Yes, she was. She was there for part of the night, then she left and didn't come back.
Was she making any of the crank calls?
She was on some of those prank phone calls. What had happened was she had left that morning. He came in after that, and I thought somebody was coming to my bedroom. I thought it was my girlfriend returning because she forgot something.
It wasn't.
No, it wasn't. He locked the door behind him as he came in, said, do you know who I am? I said, yeah. He told me to stand up. I stood up. He socked me once in the mouth. I fell to the bed. He continued to hold me down and punch me. I couldn't even move. I mean, he punched me 20, 25 times in the side of my face, in my stomach, all through my neck, my jaw. I have the hospital reports of the cervical strain and the contusions to the head and neck for about 3 weeks, which caused me
Not going to
be
make
able
any more prank phone calls, are you?
No. Prank phone calls are bad. Like I said, it was a stupid mistake, but I don't believe it justifies someone putting their hands on somebody.
Okay. Now your version, sir.
I asked Ryan if he knew who I was, because I know he had been drinking the night before, and I asked him what was going on. And immediately he said, I didn't say anything, and flailed his arms up. I took a defensive posture and acted accordingly. I thought he was going to attack me, the way he had been talking on the phone.
I don't buy that, Mr. Children. I don't buy that. You went into his bedroom.
That's correct.
After that, he also proceeded to go out and try to assault him. It's not like he just came in there just to beat me up.
I assume you called the police?
Yes, I called the police right after it happened.
And I
He
assume
also
the police...
threatened me not to
Shh,
do it.
quiet.
Okay.
And I assume the police came, and I assume you played them the recordings?
Yes, Your Honor.
And they did nothing?
They failed to press charges against either one of us.
Correct. Do you work, Mr. Lapp?
Yes, I do.
Who do you work for?
Fry's Electronics in Sacramento.
How long have you worked for them?
I've worked there about 4 months now.
You have medical insurance?
No, I do not.
Have you paid any of these bills?
No, I have not. I don't have the funds to do so.
You have $2,099 in medical bills.
Yes.
Have any photographs of your injuries?
I did on a cell phone that's broken now, so there's no way to get those.
How many times did you hit him, Mr. Childress?
Probably between 10 and 12 times.
More than that. Way more.
Like, I was in the living room when this all happened because, like, you have, like, where I slept in the apartment, you have to walk past me to get to his room. And when he walked in there, he locked the door, and I heard a lot of, beating and screaming, him telling him to get off. But there was a lot more hits. You could hear Mark hitting Ryan. It was a lot more than 10 or 12.
Mr. Lapp, on a sympathy scale of 1 to 10, you maybe you're a -1. You understand that to me? You too. Because the pain that you can cause somebody as a result of making crank phone calls to them, and prank phone calls, especially the kind that you did with regard to this young man who was very far away from home and whose life was on the line, so that you two idiots could sit on your porch and drink gin. The things that you said about him are outrageous. And while I understand Mr. Childress's anger at you, the law doesn't give him the right to go over to your home and to assault you. There's no question that the police were so outraged at the phone calls that they winked at the assault. But quite frankly, I can't. You are responsible for his medical bills. Now, then, the only thing that I have to make a judgment about is whether you are also responsible for his pain and suffering, because his medical bills are $2,000. He wants $5,000. That he's not getting. Because there is emotional injury and there is physical injury. And you suffered physical injury as a result of this assault. Did this young lady sue you for emotional injury?
She did not.
You think that one can be as dramatic as the other?
Yeah.
Well, so the swollen face, the black and blue, whatever, suck it up. Mr. Childress is going to pay your medical bills. Judgment for the plaintiff for the amount of $2,000. That's all.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Melanie Clegg claims Ex-boyfriend Newell Olmsted owes for rent and a television. Newell claims he's already paid his debt.
Mr. Olmsted, the plaintiff indicates in her complaint that you purchased a television set while the two of you were together, and you lived together for a period of time. You separated, and Ms. Clegg indicates that you separated because she found out some things that she didn't know about you. Does that be a fair statement? Mm-hmm. You have the television set. The payments for that television set was still outstanding when she left. It was some $1,200 left.
It was $1,257.
And on whose credit was it purchased?
Mine.
You got the TV.
Yes, ma'am.
You want the TV?
It's my TV, yeah.
It's not your TV unless you pay for it.
I did pay for it.
Show me.
I put...
What date did you separate?
We separated in December.
December 2009.
2008.
Okay. After December of 2008, she says that when you separated, there was $1,257 still owing.
There was only $1,000 owed on it, and I transferred that money into her account in January. 2 transactions from my account to her account for $500 each a transaction. She didn't pay it off in time. Then the interest kicked in. There's 2 transactions. There's one on the first day. There's actually 3 transactions to her account equaling $1,500. The third one was for a credit card that she said I owed her $500 on, so I paid that as well.
Okay, explain that to me.
He did transfer money into my account. It was for a credit card that he had on my name because he didn't have good credit, so he could not get any credit in his name.
Well, how much was owed on the credit card at the time?
There was $400. The balance was $1,000. There's $400 charge, and it says on her attorneys for his divorce. And he also owed me for his child's dentist that I was paying, which I have proof here also that I was paying.
I'm not getting so involved in this complicated case. You understand that?
Yes. And
I want to know how much was owed on this credit card when you separated in December.
$1,062.
Take a look at this, sir.
All that one is the
The only thing on this that I owe was $400, and I paid her $500.
$400 for?
She paid my retainer for my attorney for my divorce with this credit card, okay?
How much?
She paid $400.
Yes.
I paid her $500 for the interest. So I transferred $500. There's 3 transactions there of $500 apiece.
And so what you're telling me is none of those other transactions on that credit card are yours?
I mean, no.
Look carefully.
That's only 1 month statement.
That's dinner.
I wasn't trying to get for that credit card. I was just saying that some of it.
She asked me.
No. Listen to me, Miss Clegg, very carefully. I see he transferred $1,500 to you at the end of December and the beginning of January.
$1,500?
Yeah. 3 payments of $500, 2 on January 7th and 1 on January 21st.
I did not get those transactions.
Those are my bank records from my bank account to her bank account. So I don't know how she couldn't have got them.
Miss Clegg, I just need your checking account for the months of December and January.
Here we go.
December 2008, January 2009.
Do you want the withdrawals or just the deposits that he had given me?
The statement. You should have it. Transfer from. I have 1 January 7th for $500 that you did in fact get. There is only 1 on January 7th for $500, sir, not 2.
Oh, you know, as Clegg L. That's a different account. I transferred that because she said that she needed to put it into a savings account. So
just a second. You have 2 that you've outlined on January 7, both to Clegg M.
Okay.
She only received 1, but they're 2 different numbers. Hold on a second.
Yeah, there's 2 bank accounts. I mean, one of them was
whoa. Wait a second. How many different bank accounts do you have?
I have 2 savings, and I have 1, which the L is my mother.
That's where you told me to transfer.
No. I have 2 different savings account numbers.
Yes, I do. I have 2 accounts. I have
2
that's
different
my
savings
mom's, and
accounts.
I have 2 other savings accounts.
Show me those 2 savings accounts.
I can show you on the internet. I don't have anything with that.
Don't show me on the internet.
Yeah, there's nothing. I have nothing.
Well, then you take a look at these.
Okay. Yeah, Clegg L is my mother, not me.
I just put it in the account. She told me to put it in.
You owe my mother money.
Oh, now I owe her mother money.
Nope. I believe you. Mr. Olmsted.
Yes, ma'am.
I see where you gave her $1,500. She says she only received 1 payment of $500. That's a lie.
Yes, ma'am.
She received 3 payments of $500. 2 went into her savings accounts and 1 went into her checking account.
Yes, ma'am.
So I don't believe that he only gave you 1 payment of $500. Now,
One of the Clegg L is my mom.
I don't care.
But that goes towards the TV?
His defense is that he gave you money after he moved out. Some of it was for his credit card, for his lawyer, and some of it was for the TV, $1,000 for the TV, which at that time, that's what was owed on the TV, which he paid for. He said the fact that you didn't make the payment on it and it went up to $1,200 is not his problem. If I believe him, then he doesn't owe you any money for the TV.
I put $1,000 down on that TV too, which I have proof of.
I don't care. TV, listen to me. All I'm concerned about is whether when you moved out there was any money due and owing on the television that he kept. And there was.
Yes.
And I find that he paid you for it. Now, the next thing I'm going to go over with you, what you say you loaned him for rent.
Yes.
Now I'll hear what you say you loaned him for rent. After you broke up, after you moved out, go.
I paid $2,600 to rent. He came to me in January of '09 and asked me if I could help him because he could not afford it and it would not look good in his divorce if he didn't have a place to stay. So I paid in January 2nd, I believe it is, I paid $995, which he was planning on paying me after his divorce. And
just a minute. Put your hand down. I saw it. Didn't you see me looking at you?
Well, I'm just making sure you saw me.
I couldn't miss it. Now, first show me proof that you gave him $2,600.
Okay. Here's that 1, 2, 3.
Don't give him anything. What are you showing me here?
The withdrawals out of the account were the rent for his house. That's a Wells Fargo account. It goes into a Bank of America account. And I had cash so that it wasn't the exact same amount every single month because I was...
Did she give you any money towards rent?
She didn't give me any money. She paid, I mean, yes, she did go pay the rent for us.
When?
January, February, March, but she received half the rent from him, so I don't know why she pulled out $900.
1 month.
Shh. January, February, March. Now, she was not living with you then.
No, she moved out in December. Just stuck us with everything, just moved out.
And who were you living with at that time?
He moved in, or he decided to stay to help me with the rent since she moved out.
Was this apartment in both your names or just your name?
It was just in my name, but we lived there together, yes.
Did you move in together or did she move
December,
in?
yes. We moved in together in December of '08, and she moved out in December of '08.
Where had you been living before?
We had a house that we rented. We wanted to get into a cheaper place, so we got into a place that was $300 less a month.
When you lived in the house, were you sharing expenses?
Yes.
And why did you move out in December?
Because he was with my sister's best friend.
Okay, well, that's a very good reason to leave.
That's not true, Your Honor.
Even if she thinks it's a very good reason
It is
to
true,
leave.
but the reason we split up is because she cheated on me.
I don't care.
So.
Actually, that's for another program, another time slot, not mine.
Okay.
I don't actually care about that. All I want to know is she moved out, the lease is in solely your name.
Yes.
And would you tell me why she paid any of the rent for January, February, and March?
She was helping me out, like she said. You know, I didn't have...
She was helping you?
Yes.
Why, if she was furious with you, because that's what she says, she was furious with you.
I didn't say she was furious.
Why? She says.
She says she's furious. I didn't. Why?
No. Listen to me. Hey.
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
Why would somebody who is furious with you, she says she was furious with you, give you money?
That baffles me.
I
have
wouldn't
no
give
idea.
you a penny.
I wouldn't either.
Because she found out about him being together with her friend.
Listen, go get your 15 minutes someplace else, but don't shout out here.
I'm not trying to get 15 minutes. I'm just trying to state facts.
I don't want you to state anything unless I ask you to.
I raised my hand earlier and I didn't get a turn.
Excuse me.
But tell him not to go far in case I need him.
Will do.
I'm pretty sure we'll need him.
Oh, I'm not sure.
Okay.
Just as long as she knows that he's here. The gentleman, Motormouth, who was here a moment ago, did he give you any money?
No.
Towards rent?
He gave me $0.
You never got any money from him?
From him, no. If it came from his account, I don't know where the money came from.
Did you get any money?
That $500 that I put on there that says Tim's half of rent on that page, yes, that's the $500 of Tim's half of rent.
Who is Tim?
Motormouth.
Motormouth.
Yes.
Okay, so you got that money.
That's it.
Well, that's what I'm asking you. So you got $500 of the $26 that you gave him, which means you're out $2,100.
If that's what, can I ask you
out
something?
$2,100.
Yes. Can I ask you something? Is that going towards the TV?
Forget the TV. The TV's over. I've already made a judgment on the
but
TV.
if you're accounting that $500 transferred from his account that you see out of Newell Olmstead's account into my account, the $500.
I thought it was from him.
It's out of Newell Olmstead's account.
Oh, well, you can't use that same $500, Mr. Olmstead, 10 times.
I'm not.
You can only use it once.
Tim gave her...
Listen to me.
Yes, ma'am.
Listen to me. You might be a very, very nice man and have many redeeming qualities. You're not George Clooney. Nobody who's not living with you, sir, is going to pay $2,600 for your rent. Not somebody that looks like that. Do you understand? Take a good look. Somebody that looks like that is not going to pay $2,600 for your rent after she's already broken up with you.
I agree.
But that's what she did.
No, she did not. Tim paid her $450. His part of the rent, he paid her. So that's not true. Yes, she helped
I don't believe that. And I don't believe motor mouth.
Okay.
I don't believe you should have had nothing to do with her. After you separated, you should have nothing to do with her. How come she gave you money? Did you call her and tell her that you needed money for rent?
I asked her to help me with rent. Yes,
good. You owe her $2,600. Judgment for the plaintiff, that's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
26-year-old Crystal Quint is suing the father of her son, Aaron Steele, for more than $2,000 in credit card charges.
Miss Quint, how old are you?
26.
Have you ever watched my courtroom on television?
Yes, I have.
For how many years?
Many.
How many is many?
Probably 10.
And in the 10 years you've been watching how the proceedings go here and what the litigants are like, didn't it ever impress you that whenever you give money to a guy, you always get the short end of the stick?
Yes.
You thought you were different.
Yes.
And you thought he was different.
Yes.
They all think they're different. They're all the same.
I know that now.
You have a child with him?
Yes, I do.
How old?
He'll be 3 next month.
How many times did Mr. Steele propose marriage to you?
Once.
When?
January 1st of 2007.
And what did you say to him?
Yes, but it only lasted 5 days.
Just a second. You said yes?
Yes.
And what happened?
Well, we were engaged, and then 5 days later, I broke it off.
Why?
Because I found out a huge lie.
A huge lie?
Yes.
But you continued to see him?
Yes.
And you gave him a lot of money?
Yes, I did.
And you gave him a credit card?
No, I did not. I did not give him the card. I used the card.
You let him charge things on the card?
Only for his car.
And he promised to pay you?
Yes, he did.
And he didn't pay you?
Correct.
That was another lie?
Yes.
After you broke off your engagement with him because of a really huge lie. Now, what part of different from all the other people that you saw over 10 years did you think he was? Okay, Mr. Steele's defense is that's what couples do for each other. She gave me money, and that's what couples do for each other. Wait a second.
Yeah, that's what couples do for each other. They help each other out.
Okay, Mr. Steele. Well, you helped her out, and she became pregnant, right? Yes. And now you have a 3-year-old child, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Is this your only child?
No.
How many other children do you have?
I have one other.
How old?
He's 6.
Are you married to his mother?
No.
You just like to make them, right?
Yeah.
Now, what kind of work do you do, Mr. Steele?
Construction.
And
He's
how much?
not working right
shut
now.
up! Do I look like I need help? You're in construction.
Mm-hmm.
And is there a child support order for Miss Quint's baby?
Yes.
How much?
It hasn't been settled yet.
Well, the child's 3.
Mm-hmm.
And for the last 2 years, have you lived together?
No.
How much child support have you paid?
I haven't paid any child support.
Well, then I'm trying to figure out what you do for her as a couple.
I paid bills that I had to
Tell
pay
me.
when I was working.
No. Just tell me, in the last 2 years, what bills did you pay for her?
Rent, cable.
Just a minute. Rent? You paid her rent when?
2007.
When in 2007, sir?
Like January, February. I helped pay rent every month.
For how long?
The whole time I was living there.
When you weren't living there.
I didn't pay anything.
Well, that's what I'm asking you, sir. In the last 2 years, you have a child.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't set a child support order yet, but that doesn't mean anything. The child is not, you don't put him in a vacuum for 2 years. The child eats, has clothes, has medical, has all kinds of other expenses. I want to know how much you pay Miss Quint. I assume the child is with her.
Yes.
How much do you pay for your child?
Nothing.
Why?
I don't have the money, even
Who
if I did
cares
want to
whether
pay.
you have the money or not? I don't care whether you have the money or not. Is it a boy or a girl that you have in this Quint?
It's a boy.
Your son doesn't care whether you have the money or not. He has to eat.
Mm-hmm.
And how much money do you send for your 6-year-old?
None.
You think that he lives on love too?
I hope.
I hope. You're a bum. You're a bum who spends a lot of money on his own jewelry. You think that I think you're cute? I don't. You may get young ladies like this who think that you're adorable. I guarantee you, to me, you look like nothing but a bum. Now, what did you take money from her for in 2008? You needed to have your truck fixed. And how much did that cost?
Well, it was my car.
I don't care whether it was a truck or a car. It had 4 wheels, not 2, smart Alec. Let's go. How much did it cost?
About $4,500.
And who paid for it?
Crystal Quint did.
From what money?
On her credit card.
And how did you think that that was going to get paid?
Monthly payments.
By whom?
We were a couple.
You weren't a couple in 2008. You told me that you moved out in 2007. You weren't a couple. Couples who have children together live together. You weren't living with her in 2008.
I didn't plan on paying anything back to her.
Well, that's a big mistake. Should have saved your money from K Jewelers and put a little money towards your car and spent a little more money on the children that you made. Did you pay you back any of this money, Miss Quint?
He paid a total of $141.
You have 2 children, right?
I only have 1.
You have 1. He has 2.
Yes.
Do you work?
Yes, I do.
Who do you work for?
I work for a pet shop in Las Vegas.
How long have you been working for them?
Since the moment I moved to Las Vegas, so a little over 3 years.
You live by yourself?
Yes, I do.
Who takes care of your son?
I do, 100%.
He's in daycare when you're working?
No, actually, he comes with me, and my mom comes picks him up.
You sued him for support?
I'm in the process right now.
You waited too long.
I know.
He doesn't do anything unless he has to.
I know that now. That's why I did the child support order, is because I've asked him for money, and he won't send me
He's
anything.
a bum. Bums don't do what they're supposed to do. If you have 2 children, you collect cans in the street in order to send them something, because somehow he's eating, right?
Yes.
And he's got a roof over his head, right?
At his grandpa's, yes.
Somehow he's surviving. Don't let me hear that you're back with him again.
Never.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $4,200. That's all.
18-year-old Monica Vasquez claims ex-boyfriend Lyndon Trujillo owes for kicking her car and smashing it with trash cans. Monica also claims Lyndon destroyed her cell phone.
You are?
Lydia Calderon, Monica's mother.
Okay, but you don't know anything about this case particularly, do you?
No.
Except that the car belonged to you.
Belongs to both of us.
Are you both on the title?
Yes.
Why don't you sit down for a moment? You're Monica?
Yes.
This was your boyfriend?
Yes.
How long was he your boyfriend?
For about 3 years.
Monica, you say that he broke your cell phone and vandalized your car.
Yes.
He says he didn't do it. So tell me when he vandalized your car.
It was like about 1:30, and he showed up at my house.
1:30
in the morning.
On what date?
July 28th.
Where were you?
I was at home.
Who else was at home?
My sister.
It was 1:30 a.m. Do you live with your sister?
Yes, I do.
What does your sister do for a living?
She works at Premier Real Estate. She's
And
a
what do you do?
receptionist.
What do you do?
I'm a cashier.
Where?
At Rite Aid.
How long have you been working there?
In October, it'll be a year.
Mr. Trujillo.
Yes.
What do you do for a living, sir?
I'm a tattoo artist.
You work for yourself?
Yeah, pretty much.
What does that mean?
I'm not working at a shop right now.
So where do you work from?
Out of my house.
Are you licensed?
No.
Do you have to be licensed where you live?
No.
Where do you live?
I live in California.
And in California, you don't need a license to give somebody a tattoo with
No,
a
you
needle?
don't.
That's a big mistake, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, you need a license to give somebody a pedicure,
Yeah.
but not to give somebody a tattoo.
No.
You sure about that?
I'm positive about that.
Anyway, you make a living at this?
Yeah.
Well, especially since you have no overhead.
What's that? No, what? No, what? No.
Overhead.
Overhead? Oh, okay. Yeah, that was over my head. Sorry.
Unfortunately, Mr. Trujillo, that was true.
Right. Sorry about that.
All right, Miss Vasquez, why don't you tell me about what happened on the 28th of July?
Okay, he showed up at my house, and he knocked on my window. I came out of my room, and I went to the garage, because he went around the house. And I had told him to leave because my sister did not want him around her house.
Why did he come there?
He was...
He said you called him.
No, I did not call him.
You say in your papers, sir, that you went over to the house at 1:30 on July 28th because she called you.
Yeah, we had been talking.
No. Because she called you on July 28th. That's
Okay.
why you said you went over there, right?
Right.
And how did she call you, on your cell phone?
Yeah.
Do you have your cell phone records?
No. I'm sure if I went and got them, I could bring them back to you. I mean, if you wanted to, another
We
date
don't
or
do
something.
do-overs here, Mr. Trujillo. What we do is, when you're coming to court, you're supposed to be prepared. You know what it's like, Mr. Trujillo? You do tattooing
Yeah.
in your house.
Right.
Let's say you made an appointment with somebody who's going to get a really big tattoo. They were going to pay a whole lot of money
Yeah.
for the tattoo. And let's say they arrived and they sat down for you to do the tattoo and you forgot to buy ink.
Right, right. Yeah, it's happened a couple times.
That's what it's like, Mr. Trujillo, when you come here without evidence.
Yeah, I understand.
With just your good looks and tattoo. That's what happens. You're supposed to bring evidence, bring proof. So we have no proof that she called you to arrive at her house
Right,
at
right.
1:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
And so you went outside and you told him to disappear.
Yes.
And what happened?
And by that time, my sister had came out because she heard the knock because our rooms are right next door. And she had went out and told him to leave her house because she was going to call the
police.
Because the incident with the phone.
Oh, so the incident with the phone happened first?
Yes.
And that happened about a month before?
Yes.
Why don't you tell me what happened?
Okay, I was at work and I get out of work at 10 and he showed up at my work. So I left.
Had you not been seeing each other?
No.
Right.
And I left my work and he followed me down the street and he was telling me to pull over and he was next to me in my car. And so I pulled over because he was coming closer to my car and he had said that if I didn't pull over he would go to my house and like break windows. And so I pulled over and he had got my phone to check it for what, I don't know, we weren't together. And I was telling him to give me back my phone and he was like, you want your phone? So he cracked it in half and gave it to me. And so...
Had he been drinking?
Yes, he had a beer in his car.
Who else was in the car?
He was by himself that night.
You got to get a job out of the house, Mr. Trujillo.
Okay.
Listen to me, sir. First, I want you to tell me who these people are that you brought with you to court today.
I brought my dad to court with me today and my brother Fabian. This is my dad, Johnny, and Fabian and Silo.
Yeah, and you all live together?
No.
Do you live alone?
No, I live with my uncle.
Why?
Because my dad has recently moved and he had moved in with someone else and there wasn't enough room, so I actually went to live with my uncle.
And where does your brother live?
With his grandpa.
How old are you?
I'm 18.
How old is your brother?
19.
Who did your father move in with?
His girlfriend.
Was there a time you were all living together?
At one time, yeah.
When was the last time you lived together with your father?
About 2 months ago, I lived with my dad in Visalia.
And your brother also lived with your father?
No. My brother has always lived with his grandpa in Tulare.
Did you break her phone?
No, ma'am, I didn't.
Well, tell me what happened, Mr. Trujillo.
Me and Monica had been seeing each other before this incident with the cell phone happened. We had been talking and we had been texting each other, and she had told me that she got out of work at 10 o'clock and that if I wanted to see her after work. And I said, okay, cool. I had the car, so I said, okay, I'll meet you at Taco Bell. So we went and we met at Taco Bell parking lot, and we were there. Everything was fine. We were talking, hugging, everything was cool. And then a call comes through on my phone. And when a call comes through on my phone, it was a ringtone, as, you know, the ringtones, like I know you've heard them, like the lovey-dovey ringtones, like the, you know what I mean, like the guy and girl together ringtones. You know what I'm talking about or no? Like, I mean, I could sing one. Like, I mean, I could sing one for you, if you want me to sing one. No, I'm just kidding. Anyways, at the time when that had happened, we were both kind of looking at each other because I was already like, okay, you know, something's wrong, I messed up. So Monica had...
Yeah.
Yeah, so at that time, Monica had snatched my phone out of my hand. And when that had happened, she snatched my phone and I reached for it back. We kind of got into an argument, a little conflict, you know what I mean? And
Who was calling you, Mr. Trujillo?
Just a friend.
Boyfriend or a girlfriend?
It was a girlfriend.
The timing was really terrible.
Yeah, it wasn't expected.
It was messed up.
Yeah, it was at the right time. So when that had happened, I was leaning up against my car, and Monica had thrown my phone at me. But when she had thrown my phone at me, somehow, and you can tell she has little hands. I don't know how she had both phones in her hand, but when she had thrown it at me, my phone rolled over the car, the hood of the car, and her phone hit my car and broke. However it broke, it was snapped in half, and that's basically what happened.
When he met you at Taco Bell, had you told him that you were going to be out of work at 10 o'clock?
No, he called my work around 10 and he said, I was around the corner. He goes, I'll be there right now. And I was like, I'm going home, I'm leaving. And at that point, my boss had opened the doors to let me leave earlier than everybody else because I had told him. And when I got in my car to leave, he was already at the corner, and that's when he just followed me.
You think if I called her boss would say that they opened the door and let her out a little early?
No, I don't.
You don't think so?
No, I don't.
What's your boss's name?
David Centeno.
Give me his number.
It's my phone, and my phone is out there.
The Rite Aid number, 67816. There you go.
7816? Now, Mr. Trujillo.
Yes, ma'am.
I want you to listen to me very carefully.
Okay.
When somebody tells me it's, I tend to disbelieve everything that they say, especially when I have to get my rather sizable keister off this chair and go in the back to make a telephone call. Do you understand?
Oh, yes.
Now, I am prepared to do that.
Okay.
Unless you want to revise your version of the cell phone events.
No, ma'am. No, not at all.
Okay, so let's call Mr. David, because he doesn't have any clue that I might be calling him. He is going to tell me whether or not he let her out early because you were going to come over.
Right.
Okay. Let's see.
Okay.
Yes, is David Santano there, please? David, this is Judge Judy Scheindlin. How are you? Good, thank you. David, I have a question for you. I'm here trying a case with Monica Vasquez. And I want you to think back to sometime around the end of June of this year, in the evening when she was leaving. There was an incident with her boyfriend when he called the store. Do you remember that? Could you tell me what happened, please, David? Mm-hmm. Okay. Wonderful. David, you're a very, very nice man for speaking to me. I appreciate you taking the time. Thank you. Bye-bye. Boss is a very nice gentleman. Mr. Trujillo, I suggest you spend a little less time tattooing and piercing yourself and a little more time honing your truthful skills, sir. Honing your truthful skills. Ask your father what that means. Honing your truthful skills, sir.
Oh, okay.
Because Mr. Santano says that he remembers the evening very well. You would call the store. You said, I'm going to get down there before the store closes. They let her leave early, and they stood there to watch her get in her car and take off before you got there because she had already broken up with you, and she was afraid about what was going to happen if you got there.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
So now I believe very little, sir, of what you're going to tell me. So now he owes you a cell phone. Now I want you to tell me what happened when he vandalized your car.
Okay, that was the night he showed up at my window.
That's correct.
Okay.
And you came out, you told him to leave. Sister came out, and you told him to leave. And I understand that there were other people with him.
His father and his brother.
Two geniuses.
Yes. And they were all drinking.
Two geniuses. Well, they can't live together, so at least they can drink together. I guess that's what family's all about. Go ahead.
And my sister had told his dad to keep him away from her house. And his dad didn't really understand what was happening because Lyndon didn't let him know about the night with the cell phone. So he didn't understand why my sister was...
I think if there wasn't a cell phone, his father wouldn't have understood. Go ahead.
So after that, my sister had told him she was going to call the cops and get a restraining order on him. And at that time, Lyndon was mad because his dad had told me, well, then I don't want her calling him or at my house. And I had said, I haven't called your son and I haven't been to your house. And at that time, Lyndon had got mad and they were drinking. So he kind of like pushed my sister. And at that time, when he got angry, my sister ran to the house to call the cops. And at that time, I had ran back to the house too because he was still mad. And he followed me to the garage door on the side of the house. And when I closed the door and locked it, I could feel him trying to open it. He just went to the front of the garage where my car was parked, and I heard a loud noise. And at that time, I had lifted the garage door up because my sister had came out, and we seen him leave the side of my car and get into his dad's car. And the two trash cans were against my car, laying against my car.
You have pictures of the car?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to take a look at it. Outrageous. When did you purchase this car?
Last year in November.
Bought it yourself?
My mom helped me.
Who pays for it?
I do.
Paid the insurance too?
Mm-hmm.
Stand up next to him. You came here, you might as well stand up here.
Monica Vasquez says ex-boyfriend Lyndon Trujillo owes for vandalizing her car and for destroying her cell phone.
What were you doing out with your son at 1:30 in the morning?
We had went to the club.
What club?
El Presidente.
What were you doing at the club?
Dancing.
And drinking?
I was, yes.
With whom?
Females.
All different kinds?
Pretty much, yeah.
So if you were dancing and drinking with a whole bunch of females, you weren't watching what your two sons were doing?
Actually, he was on his cell phone
the whole time we were there, text messaging and back and forth. And I went to him and asked him, who you texting? And he said, Monica. So
And that's what he said to you?
Yeah.
That's what he said to you, but you don't know that that's true.
No, but
if I may, Your Honor.
Yeah.
The day before the cell phone incident had occurred,
Yeah.
she came to my house, and my dad was coming up from work, and she was coming downstairs. I was walking her down to her car. And that's why I don't understand really how it could go from her being upstairs in my house and me and her being together in a relationship or working things out, and then to...
Well, were you working things out, or were you in a relationship, sir?
No, we're working things out to be in a relationship.
So what did you go there at 1:30 in the morning for?
Because we had been texting each other. We had been texting and talking to each other, and...
Did she invite you there?
Yeah, I had her on speakerphone because I was the designated driver.
Yeah, she had told him.
Yeah, she was in the car. She knew that the speakerphone wasn't on.
That her sister was asleep, the kids were gone, for him to go over there and visit to see her.
And what were you going to do?
I just sat in the car because I was drinking.
And what about him?
He was in the back seat.
So the two of you were just going to sit there in the back seat of the car,
Well,
in the
actually,
front seat
yeah.
of the car, while he went inside to visit with his girlfriend?
They didn't go inside. They stayed outside in the driveway.
Fine. So he goes over to see Monica, and how did her car get dented?
When we got there, Monica had stepped outside. She was walking towards her car. We pulled up, and she went like this, like waved us over there. We all three got out of the car, walked over. She showed us a dent on her car and said that she had got into an accident with a motorcyclist. And me and her made a few comments back and forth because I had just recently wrecked my Harley. And I had told her, you know, so anyways, we said a few statements back and forth. And then me and Fabian went back and got back in the car. They stayed there talking, hugging, kissing until Marie came outside. And Monica flipped the whole script when Marie came outside because she was
Were
upset.
you at his house the day before?
No, I was not.
Yeah, you was.
No, I was not.
Yeah, you was.
No, I was not.
When you send a text message, could you save those things?
They stay for 14 days.
Huh?
You can lock them.
Save them, right?
Yes, you can.
Show me.
Your Honor, I don't have my phone with me. I don't have any proof right now, Your Honor, so it's...
Why don't you, sir?
Because I came unprepared. I came on intentions of knowing that what I know is true.
Is everything that you said just now as truthful as you went over to the store the end of June, invited by her to come over to the store?
What, to her store, Rite Aid?
Yeah.
No, I didn't go to Rite Aid.
Oh, no.
No, I said I went to Taco Bell. I drove to Taco Bell. She was at Rite Aid when we had talked on her.
Why would you think, Mr. Trujillo, that she would say to her boss, concerned, I just want to get out of here before he comes over? And the boss distinctly remembers all the employees watching her get into the car to make sure she was safe and leave.
But I wasn't in her parking lot, though.
I don't care whether you were in a parking lot or not, sir. Why
I
do you
thought
think the boss would remember that?
Oh, yeah, no, boss, no. I'm not saying that. She got in her car, but I'm saying what I'm trying to tell you, though, is that I did not go into her parking lot.
No, what you said, Mr. Trujillo, was that you had an appointment to meet in Taco Bell.
Yeah.
And that, sir, is a lie. That, sir, is a lie.
That we met in Taco Bell?
It is a lie that you had an appointment to meet at Taco Bell. Because when she heard from you, she asked her boss if she could take off because she was concerned about her safety. They all watched her leave.
Then why would she have pulled into Taco Bell if she knew that she could have got away from me?
I don't know what you were doing, sir. And I don't know what your drunken father was doing or your drunken brother was doing on the night this happened with the car. I have no clue. All I know is, sir, you lied to me once, and you also don't know the law in the jurisdiction where you live because you're required to have a license to tattoo. Sir.
Okay.
And what is your address?
My address right now?
Where you're doing the tattooing?
In a house. On
What is the address?
I don't know my address. I just know it's on Bradley Street. I've only been there like a month, 2 months, so I don't know the address. I don't get mail there.
Did you make more than 3 children or just 3?
Only 3.
Only 3. So far you got 2 losers, right? 1,
I don't consider
2.
them losers, but...
Well, so far they haven't done anything to make you proud.
Sure they have.
I don't see
They
it.
graduated high school. That made me proud.
Oh, my God. My God, that's like the 8th wonder of the world.
That's an accomplishment in this family.
That's right.
I'm sorry.
You got to do something with it once you graduate from high school.
Yes, I totally agree.
I'm so pleased that you agree with me. I've been looking forward all year for a person of your stature to agree with me. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $950. That's all. Goodbye.
24-year-old Tanya Rendon is suing her ex-roommate, 23-year-old Crystal Cepeda, for 2 months' rent and utility bills. Tanya says Crystal was a disrespect.
And then Miss Cepeda was your roommate. According to you, she owes you a couple of months' rent and some utility bills. Miss Cepeda says you told her to leave the apartment. She owes you nothing. Who signed the lease to the apartment?
I did.
So it was just in your name?
No, it's both of our names, but she never stopped by the office to sign it.
Listen to me, Miss Rendon. If she didn't sign the lease was in your name.
It was printed with both of our names, but she...
Show me the lease. I mean, are you not following what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I thought this was going to be easy.
What happened was that
I don't care what happened. This is a contract.
Yeah.
This is the only contract that exists with the landlord. Who signed it?
I did.
Period. We're going to start again. And I'm going to try to come down. You moved into the apartment. The lease is in your name only. Is that correct?
Yes.
But you moved in together.
Yes.
And according to you, you had an arrangement with her that you would split all the rent and all the utilities on this apartment. Lease is from September 1st, 06 to February 28th, 07. When did you move out?
I moved out January 31st.
Now, according to what I read, you paid January's rent, and then you went and withdrew money from the bank so that the check bounced.
Right.
Now, you try to explain to me why you do not owe January's rent if you lived there, according to you, until January 31st.
Because I wasn't really staying there.
I don't give a rat's behind whether you were really staying there or not. Your things were there.
Right.
So you owe January's rent.
Yes.
I would like to say something, Your Honor. She agreed to stay there till March 1st.
Why don't you be quiet?
Okay.
How much was your half of the rent?
$590.
Put your hand down. So far you owe her $590 for the month of January because you can't give her a bad check for January. Do you understand?
Yes.
Did you pay the utilities in January?
No, I did not.
How much are the utilities in January? January only.
January, they're $90 a month.
So far, that's $680. Now, according to you, she also owes for February. Now you can tell me why she owes for February when she moved out January 31st.
When she first moved in, the agreement was that she was going to pay $590 a month until March 1st. It was a 6-month lease. Throughout that time, she kept paying her rent late. She also was very disrespectful to the point that she had people have sex in our apartment with me there.
Wow. You want to tell me about February? Because so far you haven't told me about February.
I couldn't find a roommate. Obviously, I had to come up with the money to cover for February because she just pretty much left. She didn't even bother cleaning the room.
She says that you told her to leave. Is that right?
2 weeks before the end of January, she told me that she had found a new roommate that would be moving in in the beginning of February.
Who that was?
She told me a girl that she found on Craigslist would be moving into the apartment.
So you decided to terminate this roommate relationship
Yes.
well prior to January 31st.
Yes.
Because you had discussed moving out.
Right.
You say it was her fault. She says it's your fault. It was clear from reading the complaint and answer that the two of you did not have compatible lifestyles.
Right.
All right. Go ahead.
So in January, at the middle of January, I decided, I guess I don't have a choice. She had notified me that I would have to be leaving the apartment because she found a new roommate, and so I decided, okay.
Where did you find this new roommate?
She was a friend of my ex-roommate, one of my ex-roommates.
And when did she move in?
She moved in March 1st.
So you had to cover the rent yourself in February,
Yes,
right?
I did.
That's too bad. She owes you $680 for January. Anything else?
No.
Anything else?
The bills, I mean, she didn't pay for the bills for January.
$680. Get over it. That's all.
Felicia Hammond is suing her neighbor, 22-year-old Ashley Francis, for damage to her car. Felicia says Ashley's son, 7-year-old Derek, scratched her bumper when he crashed his bike.
Miss Hammond, how long have you and Miss Francis been neighbors?
Approximately a year.
You have children?
No.
Who do you live with?
Myself.
How many children do you have?
One. Derek.
Cute. It is your claim, Miss Hammond, that this adorable little boy fell off his bike and scratched the bumper of your car.
Yes.
You want his mother to pay for that scratch.
Yes.
Can I see the picture of the scratch?
Yes.
You're talking about this little scratch right here.
Yes.
Does it have any other scratches on it?
No, ma'am.
So, tell me what happened.
On January 1st, 2005, I was looking out of my bedroom window. Derek was riding his bicycle in the middle of the street. He ran into my car. His front wheel of his bicycle hit my passenger back wheel. And the way the bike fell, I guess the pedal of his bike must have scratched my bumper. I immediately went outside to check the damages, and that's when I noticed the scratch on my bumper. I went back in the house, contacted the police.
That's one of the things in your complaint that I didn't understand. Why did you call the police?
For a police report.
Why?
Just in case she didn't want to pages for my evidence.
Well, instead of going over to Miss Francis first, before you call the police, I mean, that wouldn't have been my first reaction. I mean, it might have been my first reaction if a big boy came up to your car and took a rock and scratched it. I mean, that's vandalism. This wasn't vandalism, this was an accident.
It was an accident, yes.
So I don't understand your overreaction in calling the police.
Well, I wouldn't consider it an overreaction, but that was just...
well, you may not consider it an overreaction. But I'm telling you it was an overreaction.
Okay, well, that's what I did, and then after that, I went over and talked to his mother.
What did you say to her when you went over
I told her that her son was riding his bicycle. He fell off the bicycle, and his bicycle damaged my bumper.
Did you tell her you would call the police?
I told her I called the police.
What was her reaction when you told her you called the police?
She just said, okay, we'll wait till they get here, and we'll take it from there. And she told me that she would pay me for the damages.
Is that the conversation you had?
Well, first of all, he fell off his bike. He came home to me, and his leg was all scraped up, and he was crying. 2 minutes later, I got a knock on the door, and she was telling me, your son hit my car with his bike. I saw him hit my car with his bike. You will pay for it. I told her right now I'm not in a position to pay for anything. Me and my mother had talked, and she asked, did I see it happen? Did Derek remember if it happened? Derek just remembered he fell off the bike.
Derek remembered he fell off the bike and hurt himself.
Right.
Let us say, Miss Francis, that Derek fell off of his bike and scratched the bumper of her car.
Right.
That's what happened.
That's what she's saying.
I'm telling you that's what happened.
Okay. Well, there was also several kids that always play in that neighborhood.
Don't make excuses. Derek fell off of his bike. She saw him fall off the bike at the exact same moment. He came home crying that he had fallen off his bike. He scraped his leg. It all fits. I don't care how many other people were around the car or around the neighborhood or around the planet.
Okay.
He didn't mean it. It was an accident. Unfortunately, Miss Hammond was not a good neighbor.
And the way that she...
I'm telling you, Miss Hammond, you were not a good neighbor. And if you had had little children, the first call wouldn't have been to the police to file a police report.
Okay,
the
well...
first call would have been to Miss Francis to say, your little boy just fell, is he okay? That would have been the first call. He fell and he scratched my car. Do you get it?
I get it, but I didn't know that he had damaged his leg.
Yes. Just a second, of course. Well, that's the question you ask.
Well, he got
I want quiet. The question that you ask is, I saw Derek fall off his bike. Is he okay?
Well, when he fell, he got back on the bike and he rode off.
So he wasn't an extremist, which means he's okay.
He was, yeah.
As it happened, he hurt himself. Scratched leg, scratched bumper. How old are you?
7. He just turned 7 September 16th.
So he's thinking 7, okay? Your car is 10. He's 7.
Yes.
Scratched leg, scratched bumper. You got it?
Yes.
All right. You have an estimate for
Yes,
the damage?
ma'am.
I'd like to take a look at it. Is that about right, Bert? $300 to fix it?
Guess so.
$376 to be exact. You have to have a perfect bumper.
But can't they just paint the scratch? Because when we
Bumpers
scratch...
aren't. I'm told that they're made out of a different material, that you can't use touch-up paint. Is that right?
That's right.
Otherwise, believe me, $9.95 she would have gotten a little touch-up paint and touch it up, but you can't do that with a bumper. I know. Somebody just did it to my bumper. Judgment to the plaintiff in the amount of $376. Okay.
Thank you,
Be a
Your
good
Honor.
neighbor.
Well,
Goes much further. That's all.
Wanda Burr is suing her neighbor, Juanita Gracia, for the cost to fix her car and for vandalism to her home. Wanda says the culprit is Juanita's son, 14-year-old Alberto Lopez.
You may be seated. Gentlemen, have a seat, please.
Oh, no.
Gentlemen, stand up, please. No, you sit.
Sit down. All right, Miss Burr, this is your son. Miss Garcia, this is your son. Neither of you were present on the day that Miss Garcia's son was in the driver's seat of your car and caused damage to it.
That's correct.
And that's what this lawsuit is about. You believe that Miss Garcia is responsible for her son's actions and should pay for the damage to your car. Miss Garcia says that it wasn't her son's fault, that your son was there the whole time, and if you want to hold somebody responsible, you should hold your son responsible. Right? Right. Okay. What's your first name?
Casey McDavid.
I want you to keep the voice up. Are you frightened here today?
No, ma'am.
You're a little nervous?
No, ma'am.
I'm going to change that. On what day were you in your mother's car?
He was not in the vehicle, Your Honor.
Where were you?
Me and my friends were on the computer, and I went to the bathroom. I came out. He took the keys off my door, and I seen the car go past the window, and I went out, and I seen him hit the tree.
You saw him.
I seen him get in my car.
Where were the keys?
They were on the door.
Of what room?
Of the front door.
And where's your computer?
In the living room.
The computer's next to the front. Sorry.
Were you there?
No, ma'am.
Keep your mouth closed. So you were on the computer in the living room.
Yes, ma'am.
And where were your friends?
They were on the computer with me.
How many friends?
3.
Who are they?
Alberto, Brandon, and Dwayne.
What's Brandon's last name?
I don't know.
What's Dwayne's last name? Is he still your friend?
No, ma'am.
Why not?
I haven't talked to him
Since when?
since the accident.
And what about Brandon? Have you spoken to him?
No, ma'am.
Why haven't you spoken to them since the accident? Casey?
Ever since the accident, I just lost touch.
Why? They were in the room with you on the computer, right?
Right.
They weren't near the car, so why would you stop being their friend?
I just haven't talked to him in a while.
Okay, now let me hear your version of what happened.
Me, Brendan, and Dwayne were sitting on the living room couch. I was next to Casey looking on the computer with him. Me and Brendan discussed getting in the car and listening to the music, and the keys were on the desk of the computer, not hanging. I took the keys in front of Casey. He didn't say anything. Me and Brendan went into the car, started the car.
Brendan, too?
Brendan was in the car. We started the car and started listening to music. I switched gears in the car in reverse. Casey came out and just stood there and watched us.
Casey came out?
Yes, ma'am.
And what did he say to you?
I don't know if he said anything, but he just stood there watching us. And I backed the car, and I guess...
Why did you do that?
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know?
I don't know. He's taken the car out before. It's not like it was the first time he's done it.
He didn't do anything.
Well, that we've done it, he's let us drive before. And I started backing up the car. I was going to go anywhere. And then Brendan got scared and opened the passenger door and jumped out. And that's when the door hit the tree. I stopped the car and moved it back forward. And we noticed the damages to the car.
Alberto, so whose fault is this?
Mine.
Perfect. Why didn't you convince your mother of that?
When his mother found out, we all discussed together that we will each take responsibility for it.
Who's each?
Me, Brendan, and Casey. Because
well, it's not, just a second. Not Casey's fault. You took the keys. You didn't have permission to take the keys. Brendan, maybe. He was with you, but he didn't drive it. You did. Why is it anybody else's fault but yours?
They didn't stop me.
So let's say you're walking down the street with your mother, and you see somebody that you went to school with that you don't like, and you walk past them, and you say to your mother, I'm going to punch him in the face. You walk past him, you punch him in the face. It's fault?
No, ma'am.
Why? She didn't stop you. She didn't stop you. You get it?
Yes, ma'am.
You have anything to say to me, Miss Garcia?
Yeah. The reason I felt that it wasn't all his fault was because all 3 parties were involved. Casey is older than my child. The key was in his house.
Just a second. How much older is he?
2 years older than him.
So what?
No, but he had possession of the keys.
No, he didn't. He didn't have possession of the keys.
They've done.
If he had the keys in his pocket.
No, Judge.
Hey, listen to me. If he had the keys in his pocket, and he took the keys out of his pocket and handed them to your son, then he had control of the keys. Your son didn't ask permission. It's like he stole the keys. And what he's saying is, well, nobody stopped me. I mean, you mean if he walked out with the silver and nobody stopped him, he could have the silver? If you saw the family jewels and he said, I'm going to take those. And he said, well, I took them, but nobody stopped me. So why can't I have those? He stole the keys and he went outside. And he was in the car already.
Yes, sir.
All right. How much damage did you have to your car?
I also have another incident, Your Honor, where my new truck was keyed, and I saw Alberto running from my carport that evening, and I have a police report on it as well. And there have been other instances, burnt screens, lawn bags that I've bagged up have been scattered over my yard the next morning, graffiti on the side of my house.
Listen to me, Mr. Garcia. What do you want to say? It wasn't you, right?
The police report didn't even say that. When we was there with the cops, she said that her daughter came out of the house and said that she may have saw the back of my head.
Listen to me, sir. What I'm going to say to you is, only you and I know whether or not you were involved in any of these shenanigans that's taken place in the Burr home since this incident. Unfortunately, Miss Burr knows that she has insufficient proof of what's been going on, this little vandalism and prank stuff, because I'm sure that Brandon is involved, which is why he doesn't see him anymore. I don't know about Dwayne. Dwayne was in the house. Why don't you see him anymore?
I don't know.
So you didn't tell me the whole story. You didn't tell your mother the whole story. He didn't tell you the whole story, Miss Burr. Not the whole story, but he's not responsible. You are. And if you've been fooling around with Miss Burr's property, it better stop, because now 10 million people know that you are potentially a suspect. So there are going to be lots of eyes on you, including the police. Do we understand each other?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. What's the estimate to fix your car?
One is for $1,608, the other one's for $1,733, and the third one, $1,840.
Can I see pictures of the car, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, that's not $3,000, $1,608. Where did you learn your math?
Also for the keying of my truck.
I already told you that you have no proof of that.
Okay.
He did it. You weren't paying attention. Oh, you're lucky that this damage is only $1,608, that she can have it fixed for that. That's pretty nasty damage, sir. How old are you?
14.
Ever been in any trouble before?
No, ma'am.
Great. Don't get into trouble again. Your mother looks like a very nice lady. She doesn't need trouble from you.
No, she doesn't.
Judgment for the plaintiff for the amount of $1,608. Thank you.
Parties are excused and they step out.
Crystal Hardison is suing fellow motorist Robert Jarvis for vandalizing her Ford Explorer by kicking it. Crystal claims her mother witnessed the incident.
Miss Hardison, what kind of car do you drive?
It's a 2005 Ford Explorer.
95 Mitsubishi Galant.
What was the date of this incident?
June 2nd.
And you were going into a drugstore to get a prescription filled?
Exactly.
And what were you going to do there, Mr. Jarvis?
I was pulling in to get her my fiance a drink and a candy bar.
Was she with you?
Yes.
And you were both going to the same store, so you pulled in first.
Yes.
And it is your claim that Mr. Jarvis intentionally not only spit on your car, but also dented it.
Yes.
Mr. Jarvis says he might have spit on it, not intentionally, but he certainly didn't dent it. And your mother was with you.
Exactly. And my 11-month-old son.
Well, he's not here to testify, but your mother certainly is. When you went into the store, Miss Hardison, your mother remained in the car.
Exactly.
And when you went into the store, did your fiancé remain in the car?
Yes, ma'am.
She pulled in first.
She was already parked.
Tell me what she was doing, Mr. Jarvis.
Well, as I was pulling in, I was waiting on her for about 2 to 3 minutes while she was brushing her hair with the door open in the parking place.
So you were waiting to pull in because she had the big door open for this SUV, brushing her hair?
Yes, ma'am.
How long were you waiting?
2 to 3 minutes tops.
Did you honk the horn?
No, I was just sitting there waiting to get in, being patient.
Why were you brushing your hair?
I'm pretty vain. So before I go anywhere, I always put my makeup on, brush my hair.
You were going to pick up a prescription.
Exactly. And that's my nature. If I'm going to a local store, I'll put clothes on, do my hair, and put my makeup on.
Hadn't you done all that before you went in?
I sure
before
did,
you
but
got
I
into
just
the
wanted
car?
to make sure everything was straight.
Didn't you see Mr. Jarvis waiting for you?
At the time that I opened my door to get my brush out my purse, no, I didn't.
But there came a time when you did see him waiting for you.
I saw a front end of a car behind mine, yes.
And you continued to finish brushing your hair and then you put the brush back?
No. Once I saw the front end of the car, I said, oh, he's waiting, and I closed my door and went directly into CVS.
What happened when you came out?
I got to my driver's side door, and I saw there was spit on the window. I opened my door. I said, Mom, somebody spit on my window. And she can tell you the rest.
Step up, please. What is your last name?
Durante.
Tell me what happened that day on the 2nd of June in the parking lot.
Okay, on the 2nd of June, my daughter had to go to the pharmacist to pick up a prescription. And she got out of the car, opened the passenger side.
That's we got past the fact that she was brushing her hair to make sure she looked perfect.
Okay.
Never know who you're going to meet in the pharmacy.
Exactly.
Yes, Your Honor. Okay, Crystal came out. She says, Mom, who spit on my car? I said, don't worry. I got his tag number. I was sitting in the car on the passenger side, watching an incident on Route 1 to my right, and I see this man walk up to the car and just cover the window with spit. I said, I'm going to get his tag number. I went to get my purse. When I went down to get my purse, the whole car just like, yes. I looked up, I saw him, I heard his door, bam, slam. He was going, he closed his door and walked behind his car and got into the driver's side.
Okay, so a passenger door slam, and then he walked around to get into the driver's side?
Yes.
And the passenger side door was where your car was?
Yes.
Got it. Now, do you have any proof of damage to your car?
Yes, I do.
Because, Mr. Jarvis, I'm going to save you the trouble, sir. According to your answer, you were having sinus problems that day, so
Yes,
you
ma'am.
spit.
Yes.
You don't know where it landed.
No, I didn't have no intention of spitting on a vehicle. No.
It was just a bad sinus.
Yes. I had sinuses all
And
like that.
you caused no damage to the plaintiff's car.
Absolutely not.
Now I'd like to see the... Okay. See, I'm going to save you all that trouble.
Your car's green.
My car's green.
But your boot isn't damaged.
And besides, my car door don't go that high.
It may not have been your car, sir.
And I was never on that side of the vehicle. I was driving.
Mr. Jarvis, what you're asking me to do is to say to this lady that she's lying. Now, common sense, which is really what we're about here, suggests to me that you were annoyed at this young lady.
No, actually, I wasn't.
Well...
I was being patient.
Well, listen. Then you are the only one I know who, under those circumstances, wouldn't be annoyed. I would be infuriated.
But to be cussed and belligerent...
Just a minute. I would be infuriated if I was sitting there patiently and somebody was not just putting a baby in a car, because that you wait for, you know, adjusting a car seat or whatever, but somebody standing there with an open door, primping and brushing their hair while I'm waiting to get into a parking space would rile that out of me. I can't even tell you what it would do to my husband.
Can I speak to one?
Sure.
Can I have her come up?
If you want to.
I'd just like to say that night when the police contacted us, the only thing that they said was that he spit on the window. When he called back to the police department, the police officer said that this was ridiculous and dropped it. 30 days later, we received it stating that there was damage. Why that night was there no record at the police department?
I
of
have
any
no
damage?
idea. Maybe they couldn't see it.
And she drove all the way home and the spit stayed on the window?
Listen to me.
I mean, that doesn't make any sense.
Does she listen to me? my
Free
dear.
money. That's
I'm
what they're trying
speaking.
to get.
Does she look psychotic to you? No, listen to me. Not the daughter who was primping, who has to comb her hair before she goes to pick up a prescription. I'm talking about her mother.
I'm going to tell you, I'm a nurse. People are psychotic all the time and they don't
I
look
listen
it.
to me. Well, listen. I've been around twice as long as you have. This lady is not psychotic. This lady did not take down your tags and report this matter to the police because she was having a psychotic episode. That's my judgment. Now, let me see how much it costs to fix your car.
Okay. I have two estimates.
You have a 10-year-old car.
$578 for Windex is a little ridiculous.
Oh, it has nothing to do with Windex.
There's no dent caused by him. That is definite.
That's just trying to get free money, is what it is.
I never got out that car, so nobody was ever on that side of the car at any point. I was in that passenger side of that car.
Nobody suggested that you did any damage to the car, madam. Cheaper of the estimate is $369.80. Is that right?
Yes.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $369.80. That's all.
Parties are excused.
Jody Marone is suing her ex-boyfriend, Thomas Matson, for a loan to reinstate his driver's license. Jody says Thomas has 9 DUIs.
He used to be your boyfriend. It's your claim that he owes you some money. You paid off some fees for him, took out a loan to do it. He says it was very nice of you, but he told you that he couldn't pay you back, and it was a gift, right?
Right.
How old are you?
31.
What do you do for a living?
Work at a sawmill.
How long have you worked there?
A year and a half.
How much do you earn?
$13.50. Not very much.
Try to keep your voice up. I'm old.
Not very much.
$13.50 an hour.
Yes.
And what do you do for a living, Miss Marone?
I'm a registered nurse.
Who do you live with?
Me and my children.
How many children do you have?
I have 3.
Aside from you, who supports your children?
I do.
You do?
Yes.
From your work?
Yes.
You have any children, Mr. Matson?
Yes.
How many?
1.
Who supports that child?
Me and her.
So you have a child together?
Yes.
How old is that child?
She'll be 2 August 17th.
He doesn't pay me anything.
You don't live together.
No.
Is there a court order of support?
Yes.
How much?
It's almost $600 a month. It's just started.
I haven't received anything.
Just a second. When did it start?
I just got served the papers a few weeks ago.
Prior to that, how much were you giving Miss Marone for your support of your child?
When we were split up?
Yes.
Nothing.
And how long were you split up?
It's been like 4.5, 5 months.
How do you expect your daughter to eat?
He says that I'll take care of it.
How did you expect her to eat if you weren't giving her any money?
I had enough money to live myself.
Who cares? If you don't have enough money to live yourself, you don't make another baby.
Exactly.
So you answered my question, and my question was, she supports her 3 children, and you pay no support, at least for the last 6 months.
I talked to an attorney, and the attorney told me not to give her nothing until it was court ordered.
So your attorney said to you, you don't have any responsibility towards this child until a court tells you you have responsibility. Is that right?
They'll
No, just a second. According to you, the thrust of what your attorney said to you was, you don't have any responsibility to pay support for your child until a court tells you you have responsibility. Right?
There will be back support.
You've been working at the sawmill for a year.
Year and a half.
Who owns the sawmill?
Dave LePage.
Mr. LePage says to you, we're going to pay everybody once a month, and you work for your month. And then he says to you, you know what? I may be going into bankruptcy. I'm not paying you. Let a court tell me that I owe you money. And in case I don't go into bankruptcy, it would be wise for you to continue working. And maybe next month I'll pay you. Next month comes around and he says, you know what? I'm still not going to pay you. How are you supposed to take care of yourself?
I don't know.
Your daughter is 2. She shouldn't have to think about how she's going to take care of herself, sir. That's the job of her parents.
Mm-hmm.
Both parents. Now, what bills did she pay that you couldn't pay? Take a deep breath. Look at me. What bills did she pay that you couldn't pay?
She paid my fines and my reinstatement.
What fines?
DWI fines.
So you have an alcohol problem.
Yes.
And how many tickets have you gotten for DUI? And how much did she have to take out in order to pay off those fines to keep you behind out of jail?
I think it was around $4,000.
So this is what I have, Mr. Mattson. I have somebody who doesn't pay child support. I have somebody who has 3 children who works and supports her children. And I have somebody who's an alcoholic who can't cover his own fines, but who thrusts that responsibility onto the providing parent. What do you think I should do with that?
I didn't ask her to pay him.
You mean the figure just came from the DUI fairy? The information on how to get this accomplished came from some crystal ball, from some seance that she had?
She wanted me to have my driver's license so I wouldn't get in any further trouble.
You know what the problem is? You know what I'm going to tell you what the problem is. She appears to be a rather intelligent woman.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she has a credible profession, right?
Yeah.
And she picked this loser. Not only did she pick this loser, she picked this loser and had a child with him, thereby continuing this gene pool that's getting us all into trouble in this country. You understand from gene pools, don't you? You're a nurse. Figure it out. Was he a drunk when you met him?
Not when I met him. He drank, but...
You know, but for the fact that they're his fines, they're his DUIs, it's part of his punishment, you almost deserve it. You know that.
Yes.
The only problem is you have 2 other children, and you brought this loser into your household and into your family with 2 other children.
Yeah.
That's a mistake. Don't do it again. How much does he owe you?
$3104.76.
Judgment for the plaintiff. That's all. Thank you.
Alan Winter says ex-boyfriend Rolando Conejo owes for a truck loan and for assaulting him during a dinner party.
Mr. Winters, you and the defendant were in a relationship for a couple of years, according to what I've read, lived together, and then the relationship ended, unfortunately, unamicably. It is your claim that you loaned the defendant some money to buy a truck.
Yes, ma'am.
And then it is your claim that he assaulted you.
Yes, ma'am.
The defendant says that he paid for the truck through services.
Correct.
Took care of your home, took care of things for the 2 years that you lived together. Also paid money towards your mortgage every month that should be counted towards the truck debt. And this truck debt came about as a result of a loan that he had with someone else that he had been involved with. And when the 2 of you became involved, you said you don't want any strings attached, so you paid off the truck loan to the other person, thereby making him only beholden to you for this debt.
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, when I met Alan, he offered, and that was his idea. He said, Rolando, I can help you with this. As long as you take care of the chihuahuas, help me remodeling the house, because...
Just a second. How much did you pay for the truck?
I paid $7,538 for the truck.
And how much did the defendant pay you back?
He, on June 1st, he gave me a check for $3,000.
What was the $3,000 for, sir?
For the truck.
Fine. Leaving a balance of $4,538. Because if he told you to take care of the chihuahuas in exchange for the truck, you wouldn't have given him $3,000. Right?
Right.
It's going to be like shooting fish in a barrel.
I was thinking that's a lot of chihuahuas.
Your Honor.
What?
He also said, if you help me to remodel the house, that would contribute towards the loan. So in my mind, I always understood that, okay, I'm going to take care of the chihuahuas, I'm going to help in remodeling the house.
Just a minute. Forget the chihuahuas. What did you do to remodel the house?
We demolished the back of the house. That was hours of labor. And I also helped him to title a new bathroom and kitchen.
How many hours of labor did you put in the back?
Well, throughout the 2 years, I would say more than 100 hours.
Yes.
Originally, there were 2 loans. And last Tuesday, we went to small claims court in Utah, and he was given financial credit for the work that he did on my house.
Really?
Yes, ma'am. And I have evidence to prove that.
Okay, so that was one loan, but you've already resolved the issue, therefore,
yes, ma'am.
with regard to any work that he may have done to pay down a loan.
Yes, ma'am.
So why are you bringing it up again? You only get credit for the work once, sir.
I don't know. He's the one that is doing all this right now. And we had a fight the last time, and...
You can only bring up the work once. Now, you want to go into this assault, sir?
Yes, ma'am. On December 1st, 2006, I was having friends over for dinner. I was having Mike and another friend over for dinner. Mike is my witness.
Mr. Winters, this assault happened December 1st, 2006.
Yes, ma'am.
When did you and the defendant separate?
In July of 2006.
Your Honor?
In July, shh, put your hand down, you'll have a chance. So this assault allegedly happened after you separated?
Yes, ma'am. We remained friends.
Fine. December 1st, 2006. I'll hear you.
Okay. He dropped the dogs off because he provided dog care for me. But the chihuahuas were owned by both of us. So he came over at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, dropped the dogs off, went up to a job interview, came back to my house at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and we were talking, and I asked him if he was drunk. And he said, no, I'm tired. I haven't been drinking. I knew that he had been drinking, so we went to get groceries because he was cooking Costa Rican dinner for our guests. And on the way to the grocery store, I told him, I said, Rolando, I know you're drunk, and I know you lied to me about it. You don't need to lie to me about being drunk. I knew he was going through a hard time or whatever. So when we got back to the house, it escalated into an argument, and he started to approach me. And the police had already been involved once before. And so I put up my hand and I stopped him. I said, don't come near me. If you come any closer to me, I'm going to call the police. You know that you'll be arrested immediately. So he didn't. And then I said, I want you to leave my house. You're not to stay here for dinner. I don't want this argument to happen in front of friends. And he refused to leave. So he sat on my couch for hours. He said nothing. So I sat on a chair opposite him. And I was reading or whatever. And all of a sudden, he just pops up. And he's very animated. And he said, okay, we need to cook dinner. This was a few hours later. So he starts cooking dinner, and I go in the kitchen, and I'm chopping things up for him. And I told him, I said, you have to promise me that you will not drink anymore tonight, and that you will not argue with me or bring up an argument while my friends are here. And he promised. So Mike and my other friend came to the house, and Rolando was very animated. He was a very gracious host. His dinner was delicious, and we had a really nice dinner. Well, after dinner, we were playing a game called Shut the Box, and it requires each player to have 10 $1 bills. I knew Rolando did not have that money, so I offered to give him 10 $1 bills earlier, and that's one thing that caused an argument earlier because of the money issue. So we were in the front room, and he would come in and out, and he was very pensive, and he would sit and watch us, and then he would disappear. The game becomes very, very rambunctious. We were screaming and yelling and having a good time and laughing. And we were also drinking cocktails. And the next thing we know, Rolando showed up in the living room wearing nothing but my bathrobe. He had gone into my bedroom and taken off all his clothes, and he had his underwear and my bathrobe on. And he came in immediately, started verbally attacking me, and Mike and I watched him, and we didn't comment. We said nothing. My other friend is a person that I also used to date, and so Rolando started to argue with him, and my other friend started to defend me. After a while of hearing Mr. Conejo just scream and yell, the three of us went into the kitchen to get away from him. And so...
And left him?
Yes, ma'am, in the living room. He followed us into the kitchen. He picked up a glass of water, and he went to throw the water on me, but he hit my other friend, who's not here today. And then before I knew it, he was just hitting me in the face. And I have pictures of my face
I'd like to see
to show. I also have a letter from the Victims Resource Center from Salt Lake City. So Mike and my other friend grabbed Mr. Conejo and held him down, but he wouldn't stop fighting. There was blood all over my kitchen. I went into the bathroom to see what my face looked like because I'm a flight attendant. They won't allow me to fly when my face is cut up. And it came to a point where Rolando would not stop. He just would not stop. And so my friend picked him up physically and threw him off my front porch. He landed in a pile in the snow. And my friend wasn't even sure if he was hurt because he landed on a sidewalk in the snow.
And he was wearing his bathrobe at the time?
He was wearing my bathrobe
Your
at the time. And so a few minutes later, Mr. Conejo once again jumped up and took off. And that's why I didn't call the police.
Okay, Mr. Conejo, let me hear what happened on December the 1st, if you remember.
First of all, I want to mention that we were still in a relationship.
Wonderful. What happened on December 1st?
On December 1st,
Tell me how he got all cut up.
On December 1st, he called me and said, Rolando, come over. I want to invite you to have some cocktails to drink. And I went over to drink with him. And then he's like, we can invite some people over to play games. And that was Mike and his other friend. And Alan and me and his other friend, we were drinking. I had been in this relationship for 2 years. It was very dysfunctional. Alan would come from flying, and he
I
would...
don't want to hear about, I want to hear about December 1st.
Well, we were drinking, and Alan punched me on the face because I told their friends that I had to put this facade pretending that we were in this good relationship. So he punched me in the face because I said that, and then he started attacking me, and we got in this fight. His friend...
May I see the photographs of your face, please?
I don't have a photograph, but
he punched you?
He punched me first.
Then did you... I'd like to see the police report.
I don't have one, but this is a pattern that Alan has.
I don't want to hear pattern. I want to hear the police report.
In May, we had a fight.
I don't want to hear May. I want to hear December.
I don't have a report on that.
Where did you go after you ran away?
I didn't run away. He kicked me out of the house.
Where did you go?
I went to John, that is my witness.
John, stand up. John, you have a last name?
Crapo.
Mr. Crapo, you remember December 1st?
I do.
I'd like you to describe the defendant's condition when he came to your house. First, how did he get there?
He said he walked. It's
Fine.
about 3 blocks away.
Then what was he wearing?
A bathrobe.
And how did he appear to you?
Very distraught. He was crying. He was bleeding.
Listen to me. Was he drunk?
Yes. That's it.
Okay. You have a drinking problem, sir? You have an alcohol problem. You know, I've been in the business for a long time. I can tell alcohol problem from a mile away. You have to stop drinking. He may be able to handle it. You can't. You have to stop drinking. Are you living with this gentleman now?
I am.
You know he has to have help in order to get rid of this problem. Unless you have a problem too. I don't know if you have a problem too. But he has a problem.
I understand what you're saying.
Have you suggested to him that he get some help for his drinking?
No.
Why not?
I'm not sure it's to that point.
It's that point. He needs help for his drinking. He may be a functioning alcoholic, but he needs help for his drinking.
As does Alan, I believe.
Not the same way.
Okay.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. That's
Thank
all.
you, Your
Honor. Bodies are excused. You may step out.
27-year-old Angela Solura is suing her ex-boyfriend, 24-year-old Freddie Lara, for a loan to restore his Mustang. Freddie claims Angela paid the bill without consulting him.
Mr. Lara, it is your claim that the defendant, who is an old boyfriend of yours, owes you some money. Correct. For a loan that you made to him. And the purpose of the loan was to have an old car fixed. Yes. This was a specialty car?
It's just, it's going to be a classic soon. It's just a car I always wanted
Me
to fix
too.
up.
What kind?
I clean windows on high rises.
That's a pretty dangerous job.
Yeah.
How long have you been doing that?
Like 7, 8 years now.
Make a good living?
Yeah, except when they lay you off.
Well, you don't do it when it's windy or snowing or raining.
Right.
How much do you make a year?
Anywhere from 48 to 68,000 a year.
And how many people do you support?
Just myself.
What kind of car is this that you have?
It's a 1986 Ford Mustang GT.
And your age, sir?
24 now.
Got a lot of money in the bank?
No, unfortunately.
Do you own a home?
No, I'm working on it. I'm renting an apartment for now.
Well, you make a lot of money. What do you do with all your money?
It's expensive to live in New York.
You don't put any money away?
No, I try. Not really.
You need a good woman, sir, to help you out. You also have a claim for harassment. It is your claim that he's been making harassing phone calls to you, and it's because you believe it's because you confronted his now girlfriend and told her that he was still involved with you.
She did not know about the payments. She never knew. He began dating her a week after we broke up, and she just found out about our involvement beginning of January of this year.
How did she find out?
She found a text message in his phone.
Is that right, sir?
Yes, sir, because she was harassing.
She was harassing for what?
Yeah, she was mad about the breakup, so she
She
couldn't
mad
leave
about
me
the
alone.
breakup, or did she ask you for money?
She was harassing me about everything.
Was money involved?
Yes.
These are not hard questions, sir. Now, tell me about this loan.
We were dating for about a year, and within that time, he needed some major repair work done on the car. It was a car that both of us were using for transportation, or rather him. I don't drive. I don't have a license.
So he was driving you around?
Yes. I used to live with him, and where we live, you cannot get around unless you have a car.
How long did you live together?
About 9 months.
Where were you living at the time? In your apartment?
Staying with my mom at the time.
So how were you living together? Where did you live together?
In his bedroom.
At his mother's house?
In his mother's house.
Just a second. In his mother's house. So neither one of you were paying any rent?
I did I tried to give them money as much as I could.
Don't tell me tried. I'm not interested in your trying. So you weren't paying any rent? And you weren't paying any rent?
We were, when we could.
Well, sir, if you make $50,000 a year, it seems to me you could help out with your own rent. What does your mother do for a living?
She's a stay-at-home mom.
Well, how does she support herself?
Her boyfriend.
And she had the two of you living there?
Yes, correct.
Tell me about the loan.
He needed some major repair work done on the car. The car was not running, and he asked if he could use my credit card because I don't have any money except for my credit card, and he told me he would pay me back. So I lent him the credit card, and within that time, he was making payments to me weekly.
To you or to the credit card?
He was giving them to me, and I was paying the credit card because the credit card was in my name.
How much was he giving you?
Anywhere from $100 to $200 a week.
Tell me when you actually put the bill on your credit card. What was the date?
Between June and July, 7 transactions were put on the credit card in the amount of about $5,000.
I'd like to see it.
Sure.
Who had physical possession of the credit card?
I did.
So how would this money be placed on the credit card?
A few times I went with him to use the credit card, and there were a few times where I just gave him the card. And I never used the credit card, Your Honor, with the exception of maybe 1 or 2 times. It was all of the car repairs.
Who has the car now?
It's his car. He has it.
When did you break up?
August 26th of 2006.
So shortly after the car was taken care of. Now, Mr. Lara, I read your answer. Your answer says that you had made an arrangement with the place that was fixing your car, that you were going to pay them out.
Yes.
And she took it upon herself to go in with a credit card and pay the bill. But that's not true, because there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different times that the credit card was used. So you must have known about it.
Yes, I did.
And did you say, don't do it because I'm going to pay them out?
Absolutely. I insisted that she didn't do it.
Each time you said, don't do it because I'm going to pay them out.
She said it's something we both need, so...
I believe that. No, I believe that. Listen to me, Mr. Lara. I believe that she said to you, listen, I use the car, because she did use the car. So she said, we're both using the car, so I'm going to pay for it. Instead of paying them, pay me. And she says that you were giving her money, Mr. Lara.
Yeah, I felt bad. I didn't want her to spend so much for
Now,
a gift.
you felt bad when you were living together?
Yes.
Speak up!
Yes.
Scared to death of me or what? Are you always this low energy, sir?
Yes.
It's very hard to get excited with you, Mr. Lara. Mr. Lara, I want you to pay careful attention to all my words, sir. While you were living together, you felt badly about what she spent on the car, on your car, so you were giving her money.
Yes.
After you broke up, you stopped feeling badly, so you stopped giving her money. Is that what you're telling me?
She kept on harassing.
No, don't tell me her. I don't want to hear harassing. I want to hear, while you were living together and using the car together, listen, I want you to follow the logic of this. You were paying her while you were together and using the car together, right?
Yes.
After you broke up with her and started to see your new girlfriend and she wasn't using the car anymore with you, you didn't feel badly anymore, so you stopped giving her money.
Well, I didn't want it to interfere with my relationship. She kept harassing me because things with her, who she was trying to get with, wasn't going well, so I think she's suing me because of the breakup.
I don't give a rat's behind what you think. I asked you a very simple question, and you understand my question, because I don't think there's total vacancy between your ears, sir. while you were together and both using it, you paid her for laying out the money. When you were no longer together and she wasn't using the car, you stopped paying her. That's what you're telling me. That's objective, not what you thought, what you felt. That's what happened. Doesn't that sound stupid to you?
No, because it was a gift.
Mr. Lara, I know that you have this word gift in your mind, but what you did in paying her belies the fact that it was a gift, sir. You paid her for the credit card. Hundreds and hundreds of dollars, according to her, because she's only suing you for what she claims is the balance, which is $3,400. And the total was close to $5,000 to fix the car. So you paid her a lot of money to pay down the credit card. Do you understand, sir?
Yes.
Listen, was he more exciting when you were together?
He had his moments.
Few and far between.
He has a problem with confrontation, Your Honor.
He has a problem with confrontation?
Yes.
Oh, and I love confrontation. That's why we don't get along. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $3,400. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
21-year-old Marvin Odom is suing his former friend, 22-year-old Mary Jackson, for the return of baby clothes. Mary is countersuing, claiming Marvin damaged a banister in her home while he was drunk.
I gather from your complaint that you and your girlfriend, who's pregnant, had nowhere to live. And you called up Miss Jackson and said, could we come in and stay with you for a little while? Miss Jackson, because she's a very nice lady, said okay, right?
No, that's not really what happened.
Well, why don't you tell me what happened?
Miss Jackson insisted that we come stay with her because she was returning a favor because my girlfriend's mother helped her when she was pregnant with her first child.
But your mother didn't help her.
No.
Right? And you didn't help her.
No.
But you just came along with the package.
Yeah.
You and your pregnant girlfriend moved in with the defendant because she was being a nice person.
Well, yeah, you could say that.
I did say that. And things didn't work out.
Right.
Miss Jackson said things didn't work out because you got into argument with your girlfriend, you broke the banister in her house, then you got drunk, you fell down the stairs, you had to be taken to the hospital. Is any of that true, sir?
Not really.
Did you go to the hospital?
Yes, I was hospitalized.
Did you go to the hospital because you fell down the stairs?
Yes.
Was it the same stairs that had a broken banister from a couple of days before?
Yes.
And how did the banister get broken a couple of days before? Look at me. Don't look down here.
That I couldn't even tell you. All I have to say is that by the time I was in the hospital to the time I got out, I'm not hearing about the banister thing until we just filed a small claims court.
In any event, at that point, when he went to the hospital, according to you, that was the time when you said, time to go.
Yeah.
That's when she told you she wanted you out, when you went to the hospital?
No, Your Honor.
When did she tell you she wanted you to go?
The first thing, she did not tell us we needed to go. We left because her and her boyfriend were arguing like the day I got out the hospital. I came back to the house. I stayed with my mother for like a total of 5 days. Well, the day we came back, they got into an argument, which then she called the police on him. By that time, they were throwing things around, you know, we were like, you know, this is crazy. Like, you know, we're friends and all, but we don't really want to, you know, budge in on them while this is going on like every day, constantly, her and him fighting.
So you say you moved out because they were fighting?
Yeah, she
as
actually
opposed to
wanted
you
us.
fighting. Now, when you were in the hospital, where was your girlfriend staying?
She was with my mother.
She left?
No, she never left. She stayed with me. She came and she took showers at my house. She used my hot water. She ate my food. And I was there for her because I'm a friend.
Just a second. Where was she living?
At my house.
You said she came back and she used your shower. What?
Yeah, because she was staying there while he was in the hospital, and then she would go back and visit him at the hospital.
Your Honor, I was only in the hospital for a matter of 2 days. That night that I went to the hospital, she stayed up there with me because she was there when I woke up. And the second day, she went over her father's house because her father lives like 5 minutes away from the hospital.
Okay. In any event, you left. Your lawsuit claims that Miss Jackson kept $2,000 worth of baby's clothes that you were putting away for your baby. Miss Jackson says you can have them back when you pay for the banister.
No, it didn't go down like that, Your Honor.
Why would she keep your baby's clothes, sir, if you didn't break her banister?
I don't know.
When she let you move into the house. I don't understand that. She let you move into the house.
Yes.
And then you're telling me all of a sudden she became the Wicked Witch of the West and kept your unborn baby's clothes for no reason?
Yes, Your Honor. That's the way.
Well, that's strange. She doesn't look like a nut to me.
Your Honor, you wouldn't believe it, but no.
Listen to me. She's giving you the clothes back.
Okay.
Right? You have his clothes.
Yeah.
You can get the clothes back. So all I have to determine is how the banister got broken. How did it get broken?
At the time, we were intoxicated, and she was drinking.
Did the banister get broken?
It got broken because he left my home earlier that day. He came back in a drunken rage, fell down the stairs, and there he started having an asthma attack. My witness was there the whole time that this happened, and we weren't drunk because I don't drink around my kids.
Just get to the banister.
Okay, I'm sorry. What happened with the banister was that my daughter, my youngest daughter, she has reflux really bad, and I had to rush her to the emergency room. And when we come back from the hospital, my house is destroyed. It's trash. Everything is everywhere. And I go downstairs and I ask him what happened, And Marvin said, "I'm sorry. I broke your banister while me and Kayla were fighting." And he said that he threw her into the banister and it broke. And he sat there right then and there and said that he would pay for it.
Good. How much is it? $100?
Yes.
Great. On the counterclaim, judgment for the defendant of $100. 5 days from today, you will box up clothing, and the clothing will all be returned. You have it? It's all in the same condition that they left it?
Yes.
You have any babies?
Yes, I have 2 of my own.
How old?
I have a 3-month and a year-old.
Okay. All of the baby clothes that they put together?
It's all separate because they left it in my basement.
Was it new clothes?
No, it was from the Goodwill.
No, Your Honor. These were clothes just bought in my girlfriend's mother. The day she gave us the clothes, we unwrapped
Your girlfriend's
everything.
mother gave you the clothes?
She bought them. She was buying them for over several months.
Good. So you must have the receipts for them.
We don't have receipts.
Oh, that's too bad.
But
5 days from today, you give them back all the baby clothes you have.
But
okay?
here's the notarized
Perfect.
statement.
Thank you very much. On the counterclaim, you get $100.
Thank you.
That's to fix your banister. Goodbye. Have a happy life.
Samantha Cameron is suing ex-boyfriend Christopher Potts for the return of furniture and appliances, as well as rent money and a security deposit. Christopher claims he owes her nothing.
Ms. Cameron, you and Mr. Potts were in a relationship. According to your complaint, you decided to relocate with him. You got a job opportunity in Florida. You went down to Florida, 2 of you. You found an apartment. You put down a deposit, first month's rent. And Mr. Potts went down to Florida before you did.
Correct.
When he got there, he had a change of heart. Is that right, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Why did you have a change of heart, sir?
Well, because at the time she wasn't actively looking for a job in Florida, and I didn't feel like she would be a real reliable person to share all the bills with.
So you were sort of looking for a solid business partner.
Well, I didn't want to put myself in a hole. It would have been easier for me to take care of myself versus me taking care of myself, another person, a small child.
Because you have a daughter who was relocating with you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, Mr. Potts, how much money did she put down on the apartment?
I'm not sure exact dollar figure.
You know the exact dollar figure.
Yes, ma'am. It was $877.50.
So my question to you, Mr. Potts, is what arrangements did you make to get her back her $877?
Well, there really wasn't at first any arrangement because the money that she put down towards the apartment is basically money that I put towards the cost of the moving.
Well, because you were supposed to move.
Well, I was moving.
You both were moving.
Right. If we're both moving, then we both should be coming out of pocket for money.
Well, how much did you pay for all the moving of her stuff, sir?
All right, I had purchased their shipping containers where you load them up yourself. Well, originally I only needed one. The pods were originally $850 a piece. I had paid the $850, and to get an additional pod was $850, so $1,700.
Show me that you paid for $1,700, sir. Show me.
I can't.
Why not?
Because I don't have receipts for that.
Where'd you think you were coming to today? To the beach?
Well, that was 7 months ago, so.
7 months ago is a minute, sir. So, I'm going to ask you again, what arrangements did you make to get her back her money, $877?
Well, I paid over $900 to ship her stuff back, which...
As well you should.
I don't agree.
Well, I don't give a rat's behind whether you agree or not. Whether you agree with me, Mr. Potts, is not particularly relevant in my life. That's why you come to court. I don't believe you, sir, that you paid $1,700 for a pod for you and for her.
For 2 of them. They're $850 a piece.
What I'm telling you, sir, is show me. Other than your great looks, Mr. Potts, what you have to do is have proof. Proof is a receipt, a paid bill for exactly what it was, and you don't have it.
No, I don't.
Right. You chose to breach the agreement that you had by telling her once she had sent down her stuff that you didn't want her to move there for your own reasons.
No, for the reasons that it was better for everybody.
Fine. Listen to me. That's a judgment that you made. Fine. But then, once you have made that judgment, what you have to do is make Miss Cameron whole. Whole.
Which I
You
did
have
by
to
sending her
return. I'm
belongings.
speaking when my mouth moves, yours doesn't. By making Miss Cameron whole, you have to return her property to her at your expense. it would be untoward of you to think that you changed your mind and now you say you want your stuff back. You have to pay for the shipping of it back to New Jersey. That's ridiculous, Mr. Potts. Now, I believe him that he packed up your boxes and sent them back, that he spent money, as well he should, because it was his option to change his mind, thereby voiding the agreement that you had to move in together. Now, if you want these other items, washer, dryer, table, and chairs, you can make arrangements to get them at your expense. Do you understand? Because I don't think you really want.
That was part of our agreement.
Well, it's unfortunate. I don't know if I believe you. In any event, he owes you $877, which was your down payment. Have you sent it?
No, ma'am, I have not.
Send it. Judgment for the plaintiff, $877. Thank you. That's all.
Charnita Christopher is suing her former friend and child care provider, Vashni Dixon, for her share of money paid to Vashni by the state. Vashni is countersuing for unpaid child care fees.
Miss Christopher, Miss Dixon was a friend of yours.
Yes,
and it
ma'am.
is your claim that at some point she needed some assistance. You needed some assistance with child care, and the state was paying for your child care costs.
Yes,
You engaged Miss Dixon to watch your children with the following arrangement, that she would share those child care responsibilities with your aunt, and then they would split the check. It is your claim that when Miss Dixon got the check, she kept the whole check for herself, and you want half the check so that you can give it to your aunt.
Yes, ma'am.
Miss Dixon says that there was no aunt, that she watched the children, but that you wanted her to split the county check. You would keep half, and she would keep half, and she felt that that was very unfair since she had the responsibility of watching the children. She has a counterclaim, and her counterclaim is nonsense. Her counterclaim wants you to pay the difference between what the county paid for child care and what she thinks she deserves for child care, the overage, because that's what it says in the contract from the state. Well, that's not the contract you had with her, Miss Dixon.
When she told me, we made the agreement.
Miss Dixon, that wasn't your agreement that she was going to pay you extra.
She was supposed to pay me $4 an hour. The state was supposed to pay that to tell me that they wouldn't pay all of that. It's her responsibility to pay.
It's not her responsibility.
How is it not her responsibility?
Because I say so. Because that wasn't your contract with her. Now, how many children do you have?
3.
How long have you been receiving child care money from the state for the 3 children?
Approximately a year.
Starting when?
It started again March 27th of 06.
And where were you working in March?
I wasn't working. It was for me to be able to look for employment at that time.
Well, did you find employment?
I found employment July 3rd. I was hired at Glamour Shots.
So you're telling me from March 27th until July 3rd, the state was paying you to look for a job?
Yes.
To watch your
ma'am.
children?
Yes, ma'am.
When did she start to babysit for you?
August 7th, 2006.
And where were you working at that time?
I wasn't working.
Well, what happened to the job that you started in July?
Oh, August, Glamour Shots. I'm sorry, Glamour Shots.
Are you still working there?
No, ma'am.
When did you stop working there? It's very easy to find out by calling them. When did you stop?
August 15th. I have my check stubs.
All right, so you worked there for a month.
Yes, ma'am.
And why did you leave there?
Because they weren't giving me enough hours.
Well, so you left that job because they weren't giving you enough hours, and you went to the situation where you weren't working at all?
Yes, ma'am. There was a lot of other issues with that job.
So the county wasn't really getting a great bang for their buck by paying for your 3 children for daycare while you're looking for a job, and you had a job for a total of 1 month when you quit because they weren't giving you enough hours. Something doesn't sound right there, Miss Christopher. So she started working August 7th. And now, a week later, you're not working. So what are you doing when she's watching your children?
Out looking for work.
What does that mean?
I have to go to the workforce center, and they work with me to help me look for work.
Well, how many days a week do you go to the center?
It could be 4, sometimes 5.
Could it be 3?
It depends on what my job counselor...
When did you go to work?
Where did I go to work?
When? First is when?
I haven't. I'm looking for work right now. My children are not in child care right now at all.
So she started to work on August 7th. And when did you stop working?
I left her house on September 4th, I believe.
So you were there for 4 weeks?
Yeah.
How many hours a day did you watch the children, or did you live in her house?
She'd leave around maybe 10 o'clock in the morning, and she wouldn't get back till like 8 o'clock at night.
What about this aunt? Do you know anything about an aunt?
I never heard anything about her aunt watching her kids before this.
Where's the aunt?
She's at home.
She's not here?
No.
Well, how do you expect to prove to me that somebody else babysat for your children?
I have the proof.
Show me. What kind of proof are you showing me?
Oh, it's the hours that my aunt kept the children. She typed this up. She has a license.
I don't accept that, Miss Christopher. That's hearsay.
Okay. Well, that's what I have.
Well, your case is dismissed. My dear, she got a check for watching your children. You have no proof that somebody else watched your children. Ridiculous. Case is dismissed, that's all.
Beverly Roscoe claims her husband's ex-wife, Deborah Roscoe,